this too, but it's like the self-imposed pressure cage. At least that's what I call it. It's how we manufacture our own anxiety, pretty much. It's super annoying that this happens, and almost none of us actually catch this when we're doing it. So the thing that I wanted to talk about is something I kept noticing in the community, and that I've been pretty guilty myself. So this isn't me like on a high horse. It's just me thinking out loud, essentially. And, the more you look into this kind of stuff, the more I think most men in here are probably doing the same exact thing without even realizing it. And it's this checklist trap, like a self-imposed deadline trap. It's I have to be at the gym by 6. The errand has to be done by 7. The calls have to be wrapped up by noon. In this exact order, in this sequence, on this clock, or the whole day is shot. It's that kind of trap. And then, 6 will roll around, and then you slept till 6:45, and the gym didn't happen on schedule, and now you're carrying that into 7, and then 8, and 9, and it's like going into a debt, and it's going to follow you for the rest of the week. And I think this sounds familiar to quite a lot of people. And that's what we're going to talk about, this checklist mentality pattern. And most of us are running right now, and we don't even clock that we're doing it because it feels like discipline. This is the scariest part of this trap itself. It feels productive. It feels like what a man is supposed to do, right? You wake up early, you have a plan, you hit all your marks, you stay on your schedule, and on paper, that's all true. But the problem isn't actually structured good. Because, okay, sure, structure builds men. We know this, right? But the problem is the arbitrary part of this entire plan. Who told you that you had to be at the gym at 6 and not 7? Who told you that the errand had to be done by noon and not 2 o'clock, for example? Well, who decided that if it doesn't go in this exact order that your entire day is ruined? You did. You picked the order. And then you appointed yourself as the boss, who gets to be furious when you miss the exact deadlines you set for yourself. You're the manager, and you're screaming at the employee, and the employee is you. And you're sitting there at 9 in the morning, already feeling behind on meeting the schedule that you set with yourself in a calendar that nobody else can see. And then that is the self-built cage, okay? And it gets worse from there because the missed checkpoint doesn't stay isolated, you guys. It just starts bleeding into the rest of the day. You skip the 6 a.m. gym slot, fine. You push it to 4. No big deal. Except that now in your head, the day is somehow off. It's not on track anymore. It's compromised. So the whole rhythm is off. Now the 7 a.m. errand has anxiety attached to it because you already are running behind on schedule that has no actual stakeholder in it. So now lunch will taste like stress because you're checking the time. Now the 1 p.m. thing has dread on top because you feel like the column of mixed boxes is now piling up. And it's all behind where you were supposed to be, where you actually are. By 3 in the afternoon, your nervous system is completely fried. And you haven't even done anything genuinely difficult yet. You just carry the weight of like an imaginary timeline on your shoulders for 9 hours straight. Think about that shit. It's insane. You're not exhausted from even doing things. You're exhausted from rehearsing how behind you are on things. And the wildest part, and the part that doesn't make sense until you actually look at it, is that the checklist was supposed to make you feel calm. That was the whole pitch, dude. You get organized, you get a routine, you plan your day, and the chaos goes away. Except it doesn't go away. It just gets a new uniform on. The chaos used to be external. You didn't know what you wanted to do. You didn't know when to do it. Life felt unstructured. It was unstructured and overwhelming. Now the chaos is internal. Now it lives inside of the timeline that you built for yourself. Now every minute that passes is a chance to be late on something or behind on something or to have failed a check that nobody else knows that you even set. The cure became the disease. You traded ambient stress for like chronic self-induced stress. You traded, I don't know what to do for like, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do, and I'm running 18 minutes behind on every single one of them. Tell me how that's an upgrade. It's a different kind of prison with better marketing. That's really all you've done to yourself. And men do this to themselves more than I think we admit to ourselves, honestly, even in here, even myself. We grew up being told essentially that what a real man is, a real man has discipline. A real man has a routine. A real man, hits his goals. A real man doesn't make excuses. All true, all good principles in their actual form. But somewhere along the way, a lot of us internalize those principles in their most like rigid, most punishing version and turn them into a stick that we beat ourselves with every single morning. We took discipline and then we turned it into, if I don't do this exact thing at this exact time in this exact order, I'm a failure today. That's not discipline. That's just like fragility and wearing this discipline costume. It's insane that we live like this. Real discipline is showing up regardless. That's it. Real discipline is the gym session at 4 p.m. after you slept through the 6 a.m. alarm with the same intensity, with the same focus, with no internal punishment tax attached to it because you missed your time slot. Real discipline doesn't care about what the fucking clock says. It just cares what got done. Period. End of story. The checklist guy and the discipline guy can do the same exact workout and have completely different experiences of it because one of them is paying himself in stress and the other one isn't. You guys, ask yourself who set the deadline. Ask yourself who enforces these deadlines. Ask yourself who punishes you when you fall behind. Ask yourself who benefits from spending 6 to 8 hours a day in a low-grade dread because of a column of some arbitrary times you typed into your own phone. There is no boss. There's no client. There's no, anything waiting on your gym session that you have to be there at the exact time, unless you work out with the partner, but fine. Regardless, there's no shareholder demanding that the errand close out by noon. It's just you. There is literally just you and a version of you in your head that's holding you to a contract that you wrote, you signed, and notarized at 11 p.m. the night before you were going to bed when you were planning your, quote, ideal day. Who is that guy? He's not your higher self. He's just like a perfectionist with a stopwatch and a clipboard, and he doesn't actually want you to succeed. He wants you to feel guilty because I would say, okay, if he ever let you actually feel like you won the day, that job goes away. Do you understand? So he keeps moving the goalpost, hits every box, and tomorrow there's a longer list. Miss one box, and today is a write-off. He's not a coach. He's a parasite. And most of us have been feeding him for years thinking he's the one keeping us sharp. And the cost is compounding. The man living inside this self-imposed pressure cage can't be present anywhere, man. He's at dinner with his wife thinking about the workout that he didn't go to. He's at the gym thinking about the call he hasn't returned. He's on the call thinking about how he should already be eating lunch by now. He's never actually in the room he's standing in. He's always a few minutes ahead of himself, scanning for the next thing he's about to be late on. You call this a life? It's like a man's running a stopwatch on himself 16 hours a day and you're calling that shit productivity. And you can feel it in the body. The shoulders are tight, your jaw's locking up, the breathing is shallow, the sleep is bad, because the brain is still running tomorrow's checklist at 11:45 p.m., which means tomorrow is already starting from a deficit, which means that the cycle gets worse on day 2 and worse on day 3. And within a couple of weeks of running this deficit, you're not going to be a high-performing man. You're just going to be a stressed man pretending to be a high-performing one. So how do you actually break from this kind of mentality? Honestly, the same way you have to just start catching yourself in the act, like in the moment. You notice the moment you say, I have to be at the gym at 6 or by 6, whatever. You ask the question, why 6? What happens at 6:01? Is the gym closing? Is someone waiting for you? Is the world ending? No, of course not. You picked 6 because it sounded good. It's an aesthetic. So drop the time, but keep the action. Today I am training. Today the errand gets handled. Today the call goes out. The clock is a tool. It's not a referee. You're the one who decides when something counts as done. And you can decide that the 4 p.m. is just as valid as the 6 a.m. as long as the work happened. The day doesn't have to have a hidden grading rubric. There's no ghost watching you. It's just the man in the mirror. And he can either be a coach or a parasite. And that's a choice you have to make every single morning. Most guys never even know that they're making it. How many men in here are running this exact pattern right now and don't even have a name for it until probably hearing about it just now? I would guess most of us do. I guess probably almost all of us at some point have done this. We dress this shit up as ambition, as having standards, or as being a man who plans his day. And underneath it, we're just running anxiety. That's it, on a self-imposed timer. The fix isn't to throw out the structure necessarily. Structure is good. It's not what I'm saying. The fix is to stop being your own worst boss. Set the actions, drop the arbitrary clocks. Hit the work in whatever order the day allows. That's it. And refuse, and absolutely refuse, to pay yourself in stress for missing checkpoints that never existed in the first place, in the exact timing or sequence that you have to do them. I caught myself doing this quite literally the other day, 2 days ago, and this is why I wrote about this topic. I was sitting in the car driving. My woman's explaining something about some health whatever. She's just using Claude to research. And my brain goes into checklist mode. I'm like an autonomous bot driving to our destination to go get paperwork signed, death certificate, whatever. And I'm not even present listening to her. I'm not even present driving. I'm on auto mode. My body just knows how to drive. And my mind is thinking about, I need to do this. I need to go to the gym. I got to get this paperwork signed. Got to get this membership going. Got to do all this stuff. Got to edit with Claude. Got to go live stream. Got to get on the call with the guys. I can't even be present. And I stopped myself for a second. I was like, wait a second. What the fuck are you doing? Who owns your time? You do. Like, who tells you when to wake up, what to do shit? Like, who made this rule that you have to do all of this today in this order? And why are you stressing yourself out about it? And I sat there for a second, dude, and my shoulders were tight. I was literally like tight like this, driving like I was against the clock somehow. There was no clock, keeping track of absolutely nothing. It was me. Self-imposed anxiety on myself. Why? To get a bunch of shit done in some arbitrary time? Because I set the time. Because why? Who said everything had to be done in that order or by today? Nobody. I'm doing this to myself. And dude, just like that, I was just sitting there listening to her. She's talking. I'm just hearing. It's like one of those things in movies where you're hearing like a muffled voice, like, she's just talking, saying shit. I don't even hear what she's saying. And I turned around to her and I just said, I just had the weirdest thought right now. And I began to explain this essentially to her. And she was just relaying that she has the same moments as well as the catch herself. And then I go back and I look in the past few weeks, how many times I've been living in the future and not being present, how much these arbitrary rules dominate my life and cause me undue stress for no reason, because there's no monetary thing. There's no structure that holds me there to these. Like, for example, no one's waiting for me at the gym. Say you work out with a partner, of course, you have to be there at a allotted time. But for most of us, most of our checklists, they don't have a hard rule that they must be hit at this time. They're not time sensitive. We're just trying to live up to the aesthetic of what the $1 million man lives like. He wakes up at 4:30 a.m. every day, and he's at the gym by 5, and his workout ends by 6. And if you don't live up to this ideal, you're a failure. As long as the work gets done, that's all that matters. If you go to the gym at midnight and one guy goes to the gym at fucking 8 a.m., who gives a shit? Some of us are night owls. Maybe your sleep schedule's weird. The work demands different scheduling of us all. Or you're just wired different. Doesn't matter. Did you do the work? Then it's a check. Does it matter what order it gets done in? Absolutely fucking not. If there are genuinely time-sensitive things, like I have an appointment and I must be at the office at this time, fine. Okay, great. Everything else just needs finished or not. And that's it. Thoughts? Jump in, boys. Curious on this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not sure if you mentioned or not, kind of like how public school kind of like reinforces that in us too, and like with our jobs, we always have everything has a hard deadline, right? If you don't get that project done, you'll get in trouble with your manager. Same thing in school. If you don't do that homework by a certain time, you get in trouble. Your
Mm-hmm.
parents tell you got to go to sleep by a certain time, you have to be at school by a certain time, and that habit is built into you, right? And then people tell you, being, they always tell you what it means to be an adult, right? Being an adult is doing everything at a certain time. And, they don't really talk about the people who have made it to where they're kind of able to get things done whenever they want to,
Mm-hmm.
right? They kind of become like their own boss because the vast majority of us work for somebody else. So, we just carry that into our personal lives outside of work. Um, and like I said, we become our own bosses, or some people even have the voice of, some people say they have the voice of like their boss or their parents in their head telling them, hey, do this, do that. That's been drilled into them. That's habitual. And I have that too in some ways. And I think for me, social media, especially, um, really pushed the idea of that $1 million man. Like you said, the guy who wakes up the same time every day, he eats the same meals every day, or he kind of like alternates, rotate. He meal preps at the beginning of every week, to maintain, and he rarely ever has a slip up. And then some guys, some celebrities, like I think 50 Cent, a couple other guys, they always say, I don't sleep, I never sleep. But some
Mm-hmm.
people take that in a literal sense, like he only gets like 3 hours of sleep every day. Or he's up, they'll say, oh, if you, I think, I'm not sure, what is his name? He passed away. He was like real popular. He was like black guy, but he was like Red Pill before Red Pill got really popular. What was his name?
Oh, Kevin Samuels. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, Kevin Samuels. Yeah. Kevin Samuels, he was saying, he used to say, he said, you can't be broke working 40 hours a week. He said, you got to be working like 60 plus hours a week. You don't sleep. You got to work, have two jobs or whatever, which makes sense. You want to work as much as possible to be able to get to where you want to be. But
Mm-hmm.
he was always, whenever guys would tell him like, oh, I'm this and that, he said, nah, man, you got to be structured. You got to have a schedule. You got to do everything by a certain time. Um, and then eventually he said, when you get to a space where you can kind of be independent and be your own man, then you can kind of start to relax. But when your back is against the wall and you barely have anything, you have to be structured like that because you really don't have the space or the time to relax.
Mm-hmm. It's different situations. When you're at the starting point,
Mhm.
your time is rigid. You are called on the clock. You do check in to work and shit like that. So your time is limited and usually dominated by other people. When you get into more of my position where you work for yourself, then you have to switch into that mentality of that flow state where things get done. You have random bursts of energy and creativity throughout the day where you just get in the zone, and that's where you do most of your work. And that just happens randomly. It's arbitrary. There's no fixed point. You can't force yourself to have a great session at the gym every time at 6 a.m. Some people function really well in the morning, other people later in the day. When you're at the starting line and people own your time, your day is already structured naturally by your responsibilities anyways. But during that time off, when you're saying getting off of work and all that, and that's your time, hey man, some people might need downtime from their job because it's hard on their body or something, and then they'll go to the gym after eating, after relaxing a couple hours. It doesn't have to be that you put this arbitrary clock on. So after work, I got to go eat my meal prep and then go straight into the gym. It's like, maybe that's not how you function at peak. Maybe you have some creativity at certain times of the day after work that you can tap into. Certain things, it's a combination. It's true what they're saying. You do need to be structured in that sense. But I think we take it literal. When he says, I don't sleep, that's probably because the guy's in a fucking flow state. He's working on something he cares about. Nobody owns his time. So he's like a maniac like me. He'll go to bed at 2, 3 in the morning just doing shit on like Claude Code or whatever. And then he'll wake up when the sunlight hits his face from the window, which is early again, 5 or 6, but he still feels energized. He got a deep sleep because he went to bed late. He slept good for like 3, 4 hours. Just as soon as he hit the pillow, he's out. And then boom, he's up again because he's excited about the thing he does. It's different in that sense. There is a structure there. It's just not time-based. So if you have a problem with actually getting things done, regardless if the time tells you. Because some people need, because they're lazy and procrastinators, and they actually need something that tells them by 6 you have to do this, or else it never gets done. If you're predisposed to that, then yes, you need a structured format to your day that is time-based, because you essentially are a lagger to yourself. You constantly put things off to the last minute. And if you buy yourself time, like sometime today it must get done, some people genuinely will never get the thing done. So just recognize who you are. In general, I have no problem if I just lay out a checklist of things that needs to get done. If there is no time-based, portion to it, I will get it done throughout the day as it needs to get done. But if I say I need to do something by 3 o'clock, I'm putting stress on myself, because now there's pressure to orient my day a certain way. And I'm constantly reminded 3 o'clock's coming, 3 o'clock's coming, 3 o'clock's about to come. For some people, you're not wired for that. As long as the output is the same, at the end of 24 hours, we look at all the work you've done, everything you've accomplished, and how good your workouts were and your meals and everything you ate. If it's on the same level or better as the guy who's like, by 6, I do this. He has like his entire day mapped out on the calendar and shit with reminders and 15-minute increments. If you guys are getting the same amount of work done at the same quality, it doesn't fucking matter. And that's the important part. But find out who you are. Like, what system works for you? Some people they need the rigidness. And other people, that rigidness is a prison. So which one are you? I guess is one of the most important questions to ask yourself. And then you need to start tailoring your day to that, because the mental prison is real. For me, I hate when I'm forced to do things by a certain time. I do things when I feel like fucking doing them, when they appropriately come up by happenstance because of how my day is unraveling. It's not that I put things off and I have a procrastinator's problem with tasks for the day. It's just it'll force me to procrastinate if you put a time limit on my task because of that added stress. How do you function? That's the question. And then tailor your day to that, because we're all trying to be the $1 million man. But the $1 million man that is purported to us by mainstream, I never sleep, I work all day, don't take time off, and all that kind of shit. It works for certain people. Small minority most likely, but a lot of us are wired somewhere in between. You can still be the $1 million man and be like, those guys on Silicon Valley with their little startups. Like, they just work randomly up until 5 a.m. They're up all day coding. They sleep during the day. Most of their work is done in like the afternoon after they wake up. They'll Uber Eats it. Like, they live completely different lifestyles, but are still productive in their businesses.
Is there anyone who has like an opinion that they kind of like both rigid and kind of free way of doing things? Because, for example, I personally prefer free way of doing things, except I set a hard rule, 3 a.m. go to gym. Otherwise, I'm gonna get caught up doing something else, and I'm gonna be like, I can wait a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna get tired after finishing doing whatever I was doing. So that's the only hard rule that I put on, because I get distracted by something else.
I don't know. People chime in if you like.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, like I said, that's just, me personally. I mean, I know the kind of person I am. I'm a person who, for me, I always tell myself, I don't do it by a certain time. I say that, especially starting out with something, I'm gonna try to do it like, let's say, 3 or 4 times a week, right? Like we're working out. Like before, I would say, oh, I need to work out by this certain time, do this or do that. But I know how I am, and I'm like, okay, well, I know that I'm not really much of a morning person, so I'm like, all right, well, I will try to work out later in the day. But I say, I try to work out before the day ends, because I think the gym I go to, it closes at 11 p.m. during the week, and then on the weekends it closes at 7 p.m. But then my job has doesn't have a set schedule, so the schedule changes every week. So I never really quite know if I actually have time to go or not, like in the morning or at night. So I just set that particular schedule for myself.
Mm.
I'm a big believer of starting the day the way you want to start it. Just because it sets up the tone for the rest of it, in a sense. But
Yeah.
I don't know, every time you put expectations on yourself, like, no matter how small, just the thought of failure, like, attacks your ego, puts additional stress to you. Even if it's minor things that don't really matter at the end of the day. Doesn't really matter if you do them today or tomorrow or after tomorrow. Just putting a hard line always adds additional stress. Some people thrive in that environment. I'm gonna be honest. I have always been the type that procrastinates everything till the last fucking minute, and then I somehow manage to pull it through every time. But I'm really pushing the limits with that. So I'm kind of have to put some hard lines on certain things that I do find important, but never bring myself to do that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Otherwise, we'll just open it up to everybody.
Curious. Okay. Well, then I'll ask, like, you were saying that besides you were doing that just with like everything you're doing now, would you feel like that rigid mindset is what helped you become successful when you're doing like the remodel and construction?
Yeah,
Like
for that
being rigid like that,
specifically,
especially in the beginning?
the rigidness
Yeah.
helped because I didn't own my own time at all. My customers owned my time. My business owned my time. I was forced into the rigidity by the needs of the business. So I thrived in that environment. It was not a problem. The excitement alone of working for yourself and what you put in is what you get out helped. So I had that fire, the passion. On top of that, the rigidity just made it so not much to think about. You wake up at 6 a.m., you know exactly where you got to be, what you got to do, and then customers call, and now I got to be somewhere else doing something else, like a estimate or whatever. The crew's already working, you know, on the job site, and you're just delegating and shit like that. And that was literally 100-hour weeks where didn't have a life, bled into my weekends. And I lost track of time. I didn't really care for weekends or anything. Didn't matter because the passion. I wasn't counting the clock there. It just kind of all melted into one day you're waking up. It's like, wow, this shit's successful. That's what really helped, having that passion, that excitement for what you're doing. That way the clock just runs quickly. You don't even notice how fast time's passing. But yeah, the rigidity was built in. Like all businesses, in the very beginning is where you do the most of the work. I was on the wall doing the stucco. I was repairing the chimneys. I was cutting into the foundation. You know, I was doing the full patchwork, you know, cutting 4x4s, 10x10s, completely cutting out the wall, seeing what's behind the plywood, if it's messed up down to the frame, swapping everything out, the lath, putting back 3-coat stucco, all that. I did all of that. And I'd be dirty, picking up the phone, then running off, and you know, I'd be working on some projects with my dad, so he would take over. Hey, I gotta go do a estimate for somebody that just called. Boom, I would go drive 50 minutes away, sometimes an hour away, an hour and a half, depending on traffic. You know how Atlanta is in the metro area. And I would go over there, do that estimate, come back after I was done, finish the rest of the work with my dad. We then call it a day. And that was it. I was running like a fucking maniac. My business partner would be out running all the material to us, getting everything, doing some estimates, because we were both slammed for the rest of the day. He'd be running his crews, and then I'd be with my dad doing the work on our end. And that was it. That's how we made this shit work. And I had no time to even really think. All my time was taken from me, but the passion kept me going. That's where the structure was built. That became the new normal. And then you start to see that your time is better spent elsewhere You'll learn where your most productive hours are. I started noticing I was closing almost all my deals. It made more sense for me to just schedule my entire day closing deals and doing estimates than it was to be working on the wall. I wasn't the best at working on. My father had far more experience, and we had other guys that were way more experienced. I just had to do it on my own because I couldn't afford to pay the other guys in the beginning. And so now the delegation changed. Instead of getting dirty on the wall, I'm now scheduling out everything else. I'm doing all the estimates. My business partner's running the crews now and now I'm grabbing the materials when needed and doing the estimates. And some other stuff when I have time off, the back end, lawyers, the accountants, all that other shit. And so, again, you hit another phase where you find out your time is far more valuable somewhere else. Again. And then you start to delegate the rest. And then this is how you slowly, over time, wake up to, hey, in the very beginning, I didn't own any of my time and I had to go up on the wall and get dirty full of cement and shit. My skin's cracking. I'm fucking coughing from the dust I'm breathing. All that shit transformed into, now I'm in my car most of the day. I'm shaking hands with very wealthy people and discussing the kind of remodeling they want to do. And I'm getting these deals closed. And then I go back into the office on the computer, typing up the estimates. And every once in a while, I'm grabbing material for the guys here and there for the projects we have. That's it. Down to, okay, now I got another guy doing most of that work too. And now I'm sitting back wondering what to do with my time. And then you start investing in other shit.
Yeah. And I guess that's the mindset that most first time business or entrepreneurs should probably have, right? Is to really heavily invest themselves into that business if they want to go all in.
If you don't, you will fail.
Yeah.
It's a guarantee you will fail.
And I think it's still what's the percentage? You said 90% of this first time businesses already fail, I think.
Some high ass like number. That. Yeah. Welcome in, boys. Happy Sunday to everybody. Hope you've had a good start to your day or evening or night. We bought out the merch and the jacket is back. I just want to say thanks for everybody that's been getting the hats, you guys, and the shirts. They've been selling like hotcakes. Appreciate all the support. They look good. I could say they look good. Just vote harder. I was wearing my hat yesterday. I took my girl to a place here in Arizona called Rehab Burger. Pretty famous spot if you know it. And had them make masculinity great again, the black hat. And it triggered one of the servers. She was like, I'm about to be so triggered till I read what it said. So if you wear the red one, you may indeed trigger the shit out of somebody because they think you support Trump. And deranged leftists are everywhere. Unfortunately, even at the good restaurants you try to go to. That is such is life in America.
At AbGG6JZ donated $5. I like to read, but my impatience makes me read over the lines too fast, so I don't take in the information properly. How do I fix this issue?
You have to slow it down, brother, and actually intake what you're reading, not skipping through to get to the next page. So quiz yourself. What did you learn about this chapter? And then you'll be forced to slow it down. Highlight parts and reread also. It's not about speed reading the book. It's about ingesting, and being able to get something from what you're reading. That's my take. That's how I slow myself down. I skim read just like you when it's articles and shit like that. I'm just looking for the information really quickly. But when it comes to the rest of the information, if I really want to learn something from a book that's quite deep in the knowledge, then yeah, I'll slow it down and highlight things. All my books are pretty much wrecked in that sense because of the amount of highlighting that I do. Just fine. So anyways, yeah, we were out enjoying some Rehab Burger. Bad food. Goy slop. It's fine. I'm giving her the America tour. We'll be going to California. We're going to be doing the Gold Coast, Highway 1. and then showing her the sequoias and a bunch of other places and stuff like that. It'll be fun. So I still have to take her to Grand Canyon and all this stuff. Been running behind with scheduling. But if you know anything about Phoenix or Scottsdale, you know there's a little cross street that famously has all the, quote, nightclubs and stuff like that. So after our rehab burger, I took her down for a little walk in Scottsdale, Bottled Blonde, and all those locations. If you are from the area, you know. It's just like a cross street that has nothing but bars and clubs. And she got to see for the first time ever what, quote, nightlife was like in the United States, what the people look like. It was a constant shock for her. She was like squeezing my hand the entire time. That's her signal of like, look, 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 look. And she was just utter shock. Everybody, she said, they're shaped like bags of potatoes, like sacks of potatoes. Everybody is pear-shaped. All the women are fat. She is shocked at just how fat and sloppily dressed everybody was. Quite literally, for a European, for a Balkan, it was a culture shock. The women were disgusting looking. A vast majority of them were just absolute straight beaters, cave trolls. The fattest of them were the loudest, and all the fridges were dressed the most provocative. One fridge that we were seeing on the way out, literally half her ass was showing already. She had this skirt that you can, I don't know if you could even call it a skirt, one of those like flowing skirts. It kind of looked like something cheerleaders wear, but cut even shorter. So you practically could see, you know, imagine this is an ass like that. And the skirt was here, parked at the top half. So the whole bottom cheek, everything was showing, including the nastiness of what her underwear looked like and God knows what. Anyways, suffice to say, she was like, I understand now why you went to Europe for a woman. She was shocked. She was trying to judge. She was judging both the men and the women, and she was left in utter shock. And she actually thought, and this was a keen little insight, she looked at the women and the men, and she thought that quite a lot of them were under 18. She thought they were like 16 to 18, 19 max. And I was like, no, this is a 21 and only area. Like, not area, but to get into the clubs, you have to be 21 and up. They're all checking cards. And she's like, what? These are people that are over 21? They look like kids. They're misshapen or misbuilt or have hormonal problems. And she was shocked at just how many of these, quote, young people look like children at the age of 20-something. How misdeveloped, underdeveloped, or whatever word you want to use that they are. And the way they dress, no, not a sign of class in sight. I mean, you had girls screaming, cigarette, I need a cigarette. You know, like trying to sound like men. Baby faces everywhere, like alcohol fetal syndrome all over the place. And, you know, just horrendous, like a little touch of the tism look everywhere. Everybody is just, it was horrendous. And I noticed personally the degradation of what just in the last 10, 12 years since I have been going out naturally, you know, around the 2012 eras when I was going out, 2012, 2013, 14, the little bit of that golden age when for some reason house music got really popular, Tiesto and Cascade and, you know, all these other, who else was it? There's so many others. I can't even remember that had exploded up on the scene. America had like a falling back in love with house music again. And that little house music era, Calvin Harris and all that stuff was like exploding, right? And I was explaining to her when I was going to the clubs, it didn't actually look like this. When I was going out to the bars, it didn't look like this. The bars have gotten dirtied up. The music is like, it matches what's played on radio today. It's ghetto ass music, rap, trap, trash. The crowd matches the music. It's just a lower quality crowd in general. They're dressing like absolute dog shit. They're very ghetto in nature. The beautiful women in like dresses, you know, are kind of gone. And I explained to her that I actually saw this happen in Vegas. So when we would go to Vegas when I was back in college, we would go see like all the EDM DJs, the international famous ones would go perform at like XS and all these other places, all the pool parties and stuff that Vegas has. And it is an incredible atmosphere. It was actually beautiful to go experience that back in the day. Everybody was relaxed. Everybody was chill. Everybody wanted to have a good time. It was just drinking and super friendly vibes. And you could talk to strangers and make so many friends. And the girls were open and willing. And the energy was perfect. Nothing really beats Vegas. Once you experience Vegas in that sense, you understand how different it was. It was a kind of magical moment in time. And then fast forward, I don't know, probably close to 10 years, same shit. Me and my buddies went there for, I can't even remember, it was like a bachelor party or something. Somebody got married. And we just passed by XS and some of these other places. And dude, the crowd, there was a huge line. First of all, Vegas charges like well over $100 now for cover fees. And I can't remember if it was actually XS or something else, the line that we saw as we were walking through the hotel, the casino. Dude, the crowd was ratchet as fuck, and that's me being nice. It was like Ghettoville had invaded fucking Vegas because the music was straight rap. I don't know if it was like a rap night or some shit specifically, but it looked like the club was going to get shot up that night. Ghetto hoodlum trash everywhere. The crowd was garbaggio. The women looked like sacks of potatoes all over times 100. And that switch happened in just like the span of 10 years. Something happened with club. Yes, Omni, XS. Something happened with the club culture that once the EDM shit died, it kind of died out completely. And then they started playing rap or whatever the fuck they started playing. Hood music or something like that. And it just attracts, you know, not the hot white girls, not the women dressed up, not the men in the suits. It just attracts a whole different crowd. It kind of fell off. And that vibe is actually, I think, spread out through most of the United States. Of course, there's certain elegant places that have high cover charges and strict dress codes. And, you know, the well-to-do go there. The famous, the rich and famous, the wealthy. And you basically are relegated to going into those expensive areas just to have a decent night surrounded by actual people you would, you know, open up a conversation with, instead of people just sitting in a corner, me mugging, hugging one drink the entire night because they can't afford anything else. So, and we saw that when we were walking around last night in that little Bottle Blonde area, that side street you guys know that I was telling you about in Phoenix. And everybody's got nothing but waters at the table. They're babysitting one drink. And yeah, man, I think the culture has gotten so much worse. I was trying to imagine myself what it would be like because I was having memories coming back as we were walking, you know, of like my time going out with the boys, getting ready, pre-gaming, inviting girls, blah, 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 all this stuff. And to see the quality of what was out there now, it would be depressing. It would be so fucking depressing if I had to go back again. If I just rewinded my body to like 24 or something and then was forced to do this all over again in today's timeline, is disgusting. The quality of the women has gone down sharply in just 10 years alone. The level of femininity has all but disappeared. Everybody seemed extremely masculine. Everybody seemed, and I don't want to say combative, but the ego is extremely present. Almost like, don't touch me, don't talk to me. I'm better than you. I'm just here to be with my girlfriends. Like that kind of attitude has exploded. Before it was super open, girls would give you looks, stuff like that. And I'm watching the interactions between some of the guys and the girls and just see how things are. And you could just hear the way the conversations are today, completely different than back in my day. And is Gen Z cooked? I think so. After what I just witnessed, they're fucking deep fried. It's horrendous to be a Gen Z man today trying to date. Yeah. A lot has changed for the worse. And I think COVID accelerated that shit too. I think the world has changed post-COVID. Something in the atmosphere, something in the culture has made things completely different. So for the worst. It's kind of over. It's kind of confirming that you need to go overseas. if you're going to waste your time dating in the United States, it's got to be pump and dumps. Anything serious here pretty much doesn't exist. All these chicks were probably fucking dug out by hundreds of dudes already, and they didn't look good. Listen, I was in a shirt and some like Gucci slides basically, and not Gucci though, just some slides with some socks. I'm looking as white as I possibly can, dude. I got a hat on and shit, a shirt. We just got fucking goyed up with some burgers, and just walking through there and seeing what people are dressed up looking like. Jeez Louise. Yeah, they got bunker busters all over the place. The hottest chick there that I seen was the chick that literally was wearing like a striptease outfit because she works at the nightclub and she's like one of the servers there. It's gotten to the point where the hottest chicks are always the ones that are working at the establishment, and the crowd is full of busted cave trolls. That shit is crazy. And I'm walking around with my woman and I'm just like, thank God, thank the Lord. Jesus, you heard me, because what the fuck is this? Yeah. It is what it is. If you go out, you notice this stuff. You notice the establishment chicks were the hottest. And they weren't even that hot anyways. There's one girl that was... and by the way, the best looking girl there was next to the old man who was in like a fucking Revuelto Lamborghini. Okay, that's like $1 million+ Lambo. Multi-million dollar Lambo, probably. And she was in her 40s, and she actually looked like she used to model. Platinum blonde, you already know the look of Scottsdale. Well-maintained, of course. She looked like another class of people, like the upper class. They were the, you know, you could tell they weren't the plebs who worked soul-crushing jobs. And the 40-year-old looked better than the 20-something-year-olds that we were looking at. The 20-year-olds were all sacked out of their fucking mind, straight lumpy potato look, pear-shaped. And I was just laughing because she couldn't believe just how fat on average people were. The level of fatness. Because she said, okay, I seen the shit on TV. I seen the funny memes of Americans, but we're at a nightclub. We're at, you know, we're somewhere where people are supposed to look good. There was no looking good there. And I told her, I think the clubs now are full of absolute trash, and the only place you could go meet somebody normal, honestly, is like doing shit, activities somehow. Because the clubs are now attracting the absolute bottom piglet dumpster fire type quality people. I mean, the piggies were running wild, man. I could have been playing fucking like oink oink sounds on my phone on speaker, and you could have probably been like, which pig did it? Just saying. It was bad. Being a bit... I'm not even being hyperbolic, of course. Being a little bit funny, but yeah, it's insane to see the average shape of a woman today is crazy. There were no snacks. There were just different sizes of refrigerators, okay? That was it. You wanted a mini fridge or you wanted commercial or something in between. The snacks were not present. I could tell you right now, on May 2nd, Saturday, yesterday, 2026, no snacks were present in Scottsdale. Only fridge sizes. Rip for the boys. I saw more hot chicks walking around in like Bucharest on a random day to a random spot, to a random cafe spot by some mom and pop, than I saw in this entire place with hundreds of people specifically making themselves dolled up to go out. In a random street in Croatia with my woman, I saw way more hotter women than this exact place. It's horrendous. The density of hotness in the United States has cratered. If it was a stock market, that shit would be damn near zero. When you go to Eastern Europe, boys, or the Balkans, it seems like every other chick is hot as fuck, and then every third chick could model in the United States. That's what it felt like when I went there. I was like, wow, tall, skinny, in a feminine dress. Tall, skinny, feminine. Tall, skinny, feminine. Tall, stacked, feminine. But feminine, all of them. all of them looking dressed to the nines, even if they went out for a fucking baguette or something. They're all extremely feminine, dressed to impress, and very approachable. The game overseas is completely different. Completely different. And yeah, I just got reaffirmed that thank the Lord I did what I did. And I found a good one while I was out there retiring my parents, because holy shit. Holy shit. Yeah, the West is full of fat and aggressive masculine women, unfortunately. So I don't know, Bo, you're Gen Z yourself. You don't think dating is as bleak as most say, at least in the US. The problem is the average dude doesn't get out because they have a porn addiction and afraid of rejection. Partially true. You just don't know how bad you have it until you leave and go see how good you could overseas. You're already playing the game on hard mode. You were born in hard mode. You don't even know easy mode exists. For all you Gen Zers and younger who watch this, you don't even know what easy mode is. You're playing on legendary. You're used to legendary mode. Shit was hard since birth for you guys. And by extension, for millennials too. Not as difficult. But if you actually went overseas and see how receptive women are, how feminine women can be, how beautiful, the density of beauty, how many women just on average are gorgeous, your head would explode. You would never, ever even waste time trying in the United States. I'm being honest. A lot of women are going to hate, but they hate because they can't compete. And that's the truth. They're outcompeted by international women. It's not even close. So any man who's ever traveled overseas will tell you. If you're about your shit here in the United States and you handle your business and you're doing decent in the United States, you would absolutely crush it overseas. If you're one of these dudes that are porn brained out and think the traveling overseas is like a magic bullet, you're going to fail because you're already failing in the United States. So I've been to 5 different nations. It's true. It is. Like I said early on, hey, don't listen to me. Go see for yourself and you'll find out. Yeah. But anyways, let's get back to the show. Let's get back to what we're actually covering. And shout outs to everybody. Again, thank you for all the donations, the super chats, all the members in the private community, everybody subbed on Kick. I just want to thank you guys again. Everybody that's been getting the merch. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day and supporting the channel, man. It's actually fun to do it this way. But we're going to get into something a bit more serious here. And the topic is, I don't want to call it doom and gloom. Oh, if you hit the club with the red hat, it's game over for you. You're getting nothing but you're getting slapped up. The girls will hate that. Maybe they'll slap you up and then they read the hat and then they'll love it. Because the idiot that served us, I won't call her an idiot. She was a sweet gal. My girl hated her from the get-go once she made that comment. But okay. Because she's the lib. But this might be a funny way in. You get these Make Masculinity Great Again hats. They read that shit. They get triggered, super emotional. And then they go, oh, it's masculinity. Oh, thank God he's not a Trumper or some shit like that. And then all of a sudden they dap you up. And they're like, oh my God, I love your hat. And you just threw them through an emotional roller coaster of hate and love. I'm opening the doors for you, boys. And then that's it. That's your game. That's how you get in there. You get the red hat and then it just opens up. It's a conversation starter. And then the broads, these fucking chicken heads are so dumb that they literally think Make Masculinity Great Again is akin to like be a real man and take care of me and pay for my shit and let me cheat on you and not say anything. Don't be, don't guard me so much and insecure. That's what they think Make Masculinity Great Again means. They literally in their little fucking peanut heads think that hat doesn't say repeal the 19th. They think that hat doesn't say most people shouldn't vote. That hat doesn't say close the borders and execute criminals. They think that hat means just pay for my shit, be a real good simp, and allow me to chill by the pool while you work yourself to death. That's what they think. That's really what they think Make Masculinity Great Again means. So good. It could be a great conversation starter.
At AbGG6JZ donated $2. How is Trump viewed in Romania?
I don't know. I don't know. Politically, Romanians are further right than Americans, so they love him. My boomer dad loves him, except doesn't like what he's been doing lately. He didn't end the Ukraine war, all that stuff. Politically, he's kind of not followed his campaign trail promises. So in that sense, they're happy, but not really. It's better than the deranged leftists. And we tried to, in Romania, vote in an ultra nationalist right-wing party, which wanted to kick out NATO out of Romania, dismantle that base they have there. So Romanians are very fond of strong men who promise to do good things, although most of the time they fail to live up to their promises. But if there was a country where a strong man who could maybe change the world through some ideologies, if there was ever a place, Eastern Europe fosters those kinds of men. It's just, it tends to go south for some reason. They get rich, they turn on the class, and then they institute the secret police, and then it's game over, bro. Everybody's suffering. So it is what it is. But anyways, back to today's story. We are indeed live. We are covering a topic that I've noticed almost every single, actually, news, media, article, any sort of tabloid, whoever, it doesn't matter, the commentariat as a whole, I've noticed that they are avoiding this topic. And nobody wants to talk about it. So the story that's pretty much being pushed all week is that inflation is so-called cooling. That's the word, right? Every Fed governor saying it on TV. Every Treasury official is repeating the same word. Every economic talking head, all of them, they're all reaching for the same soft verb, right? The thing that nobody in Washington wants to say out loud right now. It's also the thing that every guy that's listening and watching the live stream right now is feeling at this very moment in the grocery store, at the gas pump, on rent renewal, on the car insurance bill, all of that shit that just landed in your mailbox this week, most likely, or about to. So groceries are up 30%, you guys, since 2020. Rent is up 25% or upwards of 40%, depending on what metro that you're currently living in. And car insurance is up 50% or more in multiple states. Utilities are also up 30% or more since 2021. Gas, again, climbing right now off the back of the Iran situation. 50 days we've been covering that plus on this channel, and the pump number keeps going higher and higher. And the official line out of the Federal Reserve, as we've heard, and is the Treasury as well, and out of every cable news economic explainer, is that this week, inflation is cooling, you guys. Inflation is cooling. Short-term pain for long-term gain. Remember this word cooling, because you're going to hear it a lot, or a variation of it. They keep reaching for that word, easing, moderating, normalizing. It's whatever the soft verb fits the press release of the week. That's the frame they need you to accept. The reality is that prices went up and they're staying up. We know this. New increases slowed a tick from the peak. That's it. That's it. That's what cooling actually means in the language that they're using. Your money's still losing ground. The bleed is just a little slower than it was last year. You're still falling. They just don't want to call it falling. Okay? That's what's going on here. And that's the lie, the whole lie in one word. Because there's a different word that fits what's actually happening to us, and the political class is going out of their way to never say it out loud. And the word is, and it's a very scary word to everybody, both left and right, stagflation. That's the word you should burn in your brain. That's the word that ends careers if it's said in the wrong room, by the way. I saw Orwell, by the well. Yes, Orwellian doublespeak indeed. So the prices are going up while wages are flat or shrinking, and the labor market is starting to slip. A working man feels this. We know this. That's the textbook definition, by the way, of stagflation, and we're in it right now. We've been in it for at least a year, depending on how you measure it, maybe longer because they're cooking the books, but you're never going to hear that word from the Fed or any Fed governor whatsoever. You're not going to hear it from the Treasury Secretary. You're not going to hear it from the cable news anchor because their whole paycheck depends on the asset bubble holding for one more election cycle. Because the word stagflation comes with a specific historical association. And that association ends political careers and it breaks asset markets and it forces interest rate decisions that the people in charge cannot afford right now. So what they do is they talk to us like we're idiots, sweep it under the rug, and try to get us looking somewhere else with smoke and mirrors. And that is them calling it cooling instead. And they hope that you don't notice that the receipts in your wallet are telling you a completely different story. Remember, you're still bleeding, just slightly slower. It's bleeding nonetheless. But hey, we want you to notice that there's less blood now than before. How stupid is that? So here's the actual situation. There are 3 economic sledgehammers hitting working men in this country in the exact same time. And any one of them by itself would have been a generational squeeze. All 3 at once, which is what we have right now, is the worst material conditions for the working man since the late 1970s, and worse than the 70s because the math underneath is even harder. Sledgehammer 1 is tariffs. So trade policy decisions out of this administration are passing through to import costs, and those import costs are showing up on the shelf. I have to explain to you guys the cope here because a lot of people think the tariffs are good, and in some industries they are. But the cope is that the foreign countries pay tariffs. They actually don't. The American consumer pays the tariffs. The political class knows this. The economists know this. And the reporting is actually very clear on this. And the price tags reflect it. Okay? Sledgehammer 2, and I'll get more in depth in that. Sledgehammer 2 is the Iran oil shock, Iran war, whatever. The Strait of Hormuz situation we're in. We've been covering for a month now, at least 2 months. We're going in on this, probably going to go even longer. I won't even get into the Iran situation too deeply because I've been reading so many conflicting reports, and it's honestly boring with these fake rearmament ceasefires that we're doing. Anyways, I'm over it. Politics is mind-numbing. But we still have to cover it because it affects us. So energy markets are pricing in all of this geopolitical risk that's showing up at the pump, and you're feeling it on the utility bill, and we're nowhere near the energy independence in any practical sense, and the people in charge keep saying that we are. We do produce our oil, but I'll explain to you that kind of doesn't work the way you think it works. Sledgehammer 3, and we talked about this on that last video, or the last stream, is AI layoffs. Okay? The technology, this AI tech, guys, that we're covering is going to end up biting all of us in the ass. And I know most people don't want to admit that AI is going to be just as disastrous as we're claiming it's going to be, and that's fine. We're just saying keep your eyes peeled because the advancements are extremely fast and rising, going damn near vertical. The technology is hitting the white-collar workforce hard right now, while the political class is pretending that the labor market is healthy. The data shows, and we've seen the reporting lately, that white-collar bleed is compounding every single quarter. In tech, in finance, in customer service, in content production, paralegal work, junior analyst positions, sales, operations, back office support, it doesn't matter. All of it is getting compressed. And the people who lose jobs are not getting placed in some new jobs that the AI boosters promised would appear. None of those appeared. And all 3 of these are landing on the same guy, by the way. The guy with the job, a wife, a couple of kids, a mortgage maybe, or a rent payment at least, a car, a grocery bill, insurance bill, electric bill, all of that. So you have 3 engineered policy outcomes converging on his bank account simultaneously. And the response from the institutional class is a shrug and a euphemism. They literally fucking hate you. So we'll get into the tariffs first, okay? The cope from the administration is that tariffs, or a tariff in general, is paid by the exporting country, for example. China pays, Mexico pays, whoever pays. Okay. The American consumer is supposedly insulated from the cost because the foreign exporter eats the tariff to keep their market share. That's been the entire public relations frame from this administration. And they've been running this on tariffs for 2 years now. Okay. The foreign country pays. Got it. Okay. Here's how tariffs actually work. An importer brings goods into the country. The custom office charges the tariff on the goods at the port. The importer cuts a check to the customs office. That importer now has a higher cost on those goods. Those goods get marked up to cover the higher cost when they go to the wholesaler, okay, the retailer and the consumer. Each one of these steps adds margin on top of the new higher base cost. By the time it lands on the shelf at Walmart or at Costco or at your hardware store, wherever, the consumer is paying not just the tariff, but every layer of margin compounded on top of the tariff. That's how the supply chain pricing works. That's how it always worked. There is no version of this where the foreign exporter writes a check to the U.S. Treasury and the consumer does not pay. The consumer pays. The math is unambiguous on this. If you go back and check the tariff pass-through studies from the first Trump-China round in 2018 and 19, every single one shows that the tariff fell on the American consumer. Okay, so picture something like a small business owner in whatever state who imports parts from, say, Vietnam to assemble some equipment that gets sold to an American manufacturer. Okay, he gets the shipment in. The customs invoice is now, say, 30% higher than it was 18 months ago because of the new tariff bracket. He has two choices. He eats the cost and he watches his margin disappear, or he passes the cost to his consumers, his customers, okay? The customers pass it up the chain to the next buyer, up until the chain lands on whoever the consumer is, whoever buys whatever the final product that part went into. So he passes the cost. Of course he passes the cost. Every business owner up the chain passes the cost. That cost lands on every working family's grocery bill, on their tools and hardware budget, on their car parts, on your appliances or your electronics, damn near every single product, every imported component that touches that piece on the American supply chain. That's how it works. Think about that, okay? Every one of those compounding margins is somebody up the chain getting their normal cut on top of a base cost that just got jacked 30% by a policy decision none of them had any input on. Okay? They called tariffs a regressive tax. That's the term economists use. A regressive tax falls hardest on the people who have the smallest discretionary income because they spend the largest fraction of their total income on physical goods. So the working man will spend a bigger chunk of their paycheck on the kinds of things that get hit by tariffs. Why? Because wealthy people spend their money on services and assets and experiences, things that don't get hit by tariffs. So the tariff functions as a tax that hits the working class disproportionately while letting the asset holding class skate free. And the people designing the tariffs know this. The Treasury knows this. Every economist on every side of the aisle knows this. The political class chose this anyway, because the political payoff of looking tough on trade outweighs the cost of squeezing the demographic that the policy is supposedly designed to help. That is a regressive tax with a flag wrapped around it. Patriotism. End of story. That's what it is. Then, think about this. There's a handful of industries where tariffs do real work for American producers, right? Some important ones like steel, for example, or semiconductors or specific defense supply chain components. Fine. Okay, we understand. There are certain industries that are extremely important to national defense. Those are real, and the case for protecting them is real. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't protect certain industries that are crucial to the survival of a nation. Of course. But broad spectrum tariffs across consumer goods are something different entirely. Broad spectrum tariffs are price hikes on the consumer, and they're dressed up as economic patriotism. The consumer being squeezed knows in the moment that he checks out at the register and that total comes out much higher than what he's used to. So tariffs are hammer one, okay? Hammer two in this story is the energy shock. And the energy shock has a name, and that is called the Iran War, or special operation, or embargo of the Hormuz Strait, or regime change, or whatever name they want to give it, okay? For the past 50 or so days now, we've been covering the Strait of Hormuz, that whole situation on this channel, and I've been giving you guys updates as we're going through and interesting things develop. As of right now, we're in a bit of a lull. Lots of threats, a lot of negotiating, deal-making, stuff like that. But the number everybody has heard by now probably is that 20% of the world's oil flows through the strait on any given day. So Iran is functionally controlling who passes and who doesn't pass through their own waters right now, while the Navy of the United States is enforcing a counter blockade on the other side. We're calling it a ceasefire on camera. Energy markets are pricing it as an ongoing geopolitical risk on the single most important shipping lane on Earth. And that risk is showing up at the pump within 72 hours on any given escalation event. So every time Trump tweets, gas moves. Every time Iran's foreign minister posts something on X, gas moves. Every time the USS Michael Murphy repositions somewhere, or the Ford, gas is moving. Okay? The cope here is that the United States is energy independent and therefore insulated from the Middle East shocks. This is what we're being sold. The plebs don't understand. They just think we make our own oil. Why is the price moving? Here's why. Because that reading requires you to ignore how oil markets actually work or just be completely ignorant of how they work. Oil is priced globally. The United States produces a lot of oil now. That's true. We also export a lot of that oil because the global markets sets a higher price than the domestic market. So when global supply gets squeezed by, say, the Iran situation, the global price spikes. And U.S. producers will route all their oil to the export market because that's where the higher price is. It's all about profit. So the American consumer pays the spike anyway because the spike itself is set by the global benchmark, not by U.S. production volume. Energy independence is a slogan, you guys. The gas station prices are based on the global benchmark. That's how this stuff works. And this is where the rage needs to start compounding for people and questions need to be asked on Capitol Hill. Because the same insider wallet, those patterns that we've been watching, we've been tracking this wallet making hundreds of millions on the Iran War series for weeks, is now showing up in the energy markets too. There were trades that perfectly anticipated the ceasefire announcement. There were trades that perfectly anticipated the strait closure. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in profit being made on the timing of geopolitical events that the working class is paying right now for at the pump. I'm talking generational wealth in some wallets that have been something like 5 for 5 on the Iran war news cycle, while the contractor filling up his F-150 in, say, Phoenix is watching his weekly fuel costs go from $60 to $90 in the same amount of driving. So picture this contractor, right? Driving from job site to job site. This I know very well because I did it all the time in my old job. So 40,000 miles a year probably he's putting on his truck because his work is spread across something like 6 suburbs or a whole metro area. His fuel budget last year was around, let's say, $4,000. This year, it's pushing 6 or more. Same exact routes, same trucks. $2,000 a year is vanishing into the pump. He hasn't raised his rates because his customers are also feeling the squeeze and he doesn't want to lose work. So what happens? The increases come out of his net, out of what he was going to put into his kids' school clothes, his wife's car maintenance, the mortgage payment that he's maybe 3 months behind or about to be underwater on if the rates keep going up another quarter. He just had the bad luck of being a working guy at the exact moment the Iran bullshit went off, and the people setting the energy policy decided the working class would absorb the spike. $2,000 a year out of his net. Zero recourse, zero tax breaks, zero help. Meanwhile, a fucking wallet on Polymarket is up 400 million in profit on the same news cycle that's emptying the contractor's wallet. You're telling me the game's not rigged? Some of the energy spike is structural. We have to understand this. That's true. And it would be happening regardless of the Iran situation, because refining capacity, for example, has been shrinking for a decade. ESG-driven bullshit by BlackRock to underinvest in oil and gas and go into green energy, you know, all of that infrastructure being cut down. It did compound shit over the past 15 years. But there are real long-term reasons for higher fuel prices, and that those have nothing to do with what happened with the Strait of Hormuz. Fine. You know, the detractors will say, hey, gas and oil has been going up since then. Those were actually the reasons why. But this, the Iran situation is an acute layer on top of a structural condition. The acute layer is what's hitting the receipts right now for you. And the political class refuses to connect these dots out loud, because connecting the dots would require admitting that the Iran intervention has a domestic cost and that their voters are paying for it. Short-term pain, long-term gain is a funny way how they tell you, hey, don't worry that your wallet's getting much thinner, because long-term it'll get much fatter. But prices never come down is what they don't fucking tell you. While they make hundreds of millions of dollars on Polymarket, cocksuckers. While you get poor and poor. Information warfare. We have it on the foreign side, and then we have information warfare on the domestic side. It's the same fucking playbook, the same beneficiary class, the same oligarch cocksuckers. They all come from the same place and run in the same circles. Isn't it crazy how that's happening? Who are our oligarchs? Well, overwhelmingly, they're Jewish. Isn't that a coincidence? And who benefits overwhelmingly from these policies? Israel. Isn't that a coincidence? Just putting that out there. I could be mistaken. Maybe correct my ignorance if you'd like. Okay? So Hammer 3, the one that nobody on cable news wants to talk about because, you know, people on the cable news are next on the fucking list most likely, is the AI layoffs. And they have the same owners too. Isn't that funny? All the major AI companies. You should look into that. Weird how things keep converging like that. So we're talking real layoffs that are happening right now of real workers in industries that the economy actually depends on for the white collar wage support that we're being told. Meta just did a round of cuts. Microsoft did a round of cuts. Google did a round of cuts. Hell, Amazon had a round of cuts of, I don't know, like 50,000 workers. And then they went back and hired fucking Indians in India to work remotely. So they cut Americans. Then they go and hire foreigners, and then the rest of that gap was filled with AI. That's great. Salesforce, same shit. Every consulting firm, same shit. If they're above a certain size, every law firm above a certain size, it doesn't matter. Every financial services, back office, each wave hitting in the last 12 months, and each wave being met with the same talking point from the same class, which is that AI will create more jobs than it destroys. So they keep telling us. Remember, we live in an inverted world, so what they say, just reverse that. They say AI will create more jobs than it destroys. That's the line. That's the line that every tech CEO has used for every press tour in the fucking last 3 years. The data doesn't support that line. The data shows displacement happening fast, and the replacement jobs are not appearing. They're nowhere to be found. The replacement jobs in the booster pitch that they're giving us are jobs that don't even exist yet, paying wages that haven't even been benchmarked in companies that haven't even been founded, doing work that hasn't even been described. It's a future tense argument that the displaced worker is supposed to take on faith while the current job evaporates in the present tense. It's a marketing slogan, and it's recycled across 3 press tours over the last 3 or so years when you see these guys going on. I mean, picture a guy who's 35 years old. Let's say he's married. Let's say he has 2 kids. He's been a working senior accountant manager at a mid-sized software company for, 12 years. He builds proposals. He manages client relationships, runs onboarding for new accounts, yada, yada, bullshit white-collar work. His company adopts an AI proposal generating tool last quarter. The tool can do in 20 minutes what used to take him 3 days. The company doesn't need to keep 8 account managers anymore. They just need 3. He gets the news in March. Severance is decent. The math on his next job is brutal. His skill set was specific to a particular software vertical that's also being compressed by AI across every competitor. The next job, if he gets one, pays 20% less, and he's competing with the other 5 guys that his company also just let go. So he's also competing with the 8 guys that his competitor let go for the same reason. There are roughly 40 senior account managers in this region looking for the same 5 postings. 2 of them he used to play softball with. Imagine that. Imagine being that guy, going browsing on LinkedIn, trying to get a job everyone in your industry is vying for less pay, which will eventually also disappear completely, fully to autonomous work. The whole learn to code line of 2015 has now matured into the use AI to be 10 times more productive line of 2026. Both lines are insults to the person being displaced. Both lines assume that the displaced worker has the time, the capital, and the runway to retain or retrain himself into a moving target. He doesn't. He has a mortgage, dude. He has a kid's soccer schedule and a wife who depends on him for his health insurance. That retraining arc, the optimist promises, is a, let's say, 3 to 5 year arc. He has a 6-month severance window. The math doesn't work. And everybody offering this advice knows the math doesn't work. But they keep offering it anyway. Because the alternative is admitting that the labor market that they're talking about doesn't exist for the guy they're talking to. End of pitch. So some guys do successfully retrain into AI adjacent roles. Cool. That's real. We could admit that. Fine. The math on that path requires capital, runway, and a specific skill base that most working men don't have. And anyways, the exception doesn't change the rule for the guy living in the median. So you have tariffs slamming the price of every imported good that he buys. You have the Iran shock slamming the cost of the fuel that he drives to work on. You have the AI slamming the labor market that he depends on, right, to keep the work for himself. And then 3 policy and technology outcomes essentially hitting the same guy at the same time, all of which were designed by, advocated for, or facilitated by a political class and economic class that does not feel the squeeze itself. These are your rulers. This is the part that should make every man listening to this physically angry, because the hammers were designed. Each one has a beneficiary class. Each one was a policy choice. Each one was implemented over the documented opposition of the people it hurts the most. Who benefits from tariffs that pass through the consumer prices? The political class that gets to look tough on trade. The donor class that gets carve-outs and exemptions for their specific industries. The lobbying industry that gets paid to negotiate the carve-outs. The financial class that shorts the supply chain disruption with insider information and then will long the domestic substitute. Working men get the price tag. Who benefits from the oil shock from Iran? The defense contractors, the energy traders with the right insider information. The shipping conglomerates with the right hedging desks. The political class that gets to project strength on the world stage in the election year potentially, right? Working men get the pump price. Who benefits from AI displacement, you ask? Well, the tech equity holders, the shareholders of every company that just cut its labor costs by 1/3, the CEOs whose compensation packages are tied to operating margin, the consulting class that gets paid to advise companies on how to restructure around AI. So working men get the layoff notice. 3 hammers, 3 beneficiary classes, 1 target. Let that one land for a minute. Stew in that. And every one of those beneficiary classes has the same talking point ready when the working man, you, ask why his life keeps getting harder. Learn to code. Move to a different city, as Shapiro was saying. Just reskill, bro. Cut back on the lattes, man. Be more disciplined with your budget. Stop spending the little money you have. The cost of living, that's a personal responsibility issue. You should have made better choices. You should have invested more aggressively with the money you don't have on the lattes you spent in your imagination. You should have negotiated harder, bro. You should have built a side hustle. You should have started a small business. You should have gone to a STEM field job. You shouldn't have had those kids when you did. You shouldn't have bought a house when you did, if you could have bought a house in the first place. You should have anticipated the policy change that you had no information about. You should have positioned yourself for an AI shock that you had no way to model. Are you guys hearing me? Are you hearing this? Every single one of those is the asset class, telling working men that the squeeze that they designed is the working man's fault. It's your fucking fault for not seeing it coming. That's the shit they're selling you. Is that what an economy is supposed to do to the men who are holding it up? I'm asking. Are these the wages of citizenship now? Is this what working 40 years and showing up and paying your taxes is supposed to look like? Is this what the social contract said was buying you? You show up, work, raise a family, contribute, and we'll make sure the country runs in a way that doesn't grind you to dust. Because right now, the contract reads completely differently. You show up, work, contribute, and 3 independent policy hammers will land on you simultaneously while the people designing those exact policies tell you the discomfort is just your imagination, bro. You're seeing things. Get back to work, clock in. And don't complain. We're planning on replacing you anyways. Or train your replacement. He's a foreigner, but he's taking half. This is fucking criminal. There's no other word for it. It's criminal in the moral sense, even if the legal system has not been engineered to not recognize it as criminal. It's the calculated extraction of wealth from the working class to the asset class through 3 different vectors at the same time. Calculated, engineered. It's run with the precision of a heist. The public conversation pretends that each vector is somehow unrelated to the others. And the political class refuses to use the one word that would describe what's happening to a normal person who can hear this shit. We've been here before. It was the late 1970s. The same dynamic, slightly different mechanism. Inflation eating wages, energy shocks compounding, manufacturing labor displacement. The political class took 8 years to admit that it was stagflation and another 4 years to do anything about it. And the response broke a generation of working class household balance sheets. And they never recovered. The condition in 2026 are worse because the AI vector adds structural acceleration that the 70s didn't have. We don't have a Volkner that's waiting in the wings to break the back of the inflation cycle. And even if we did, breaking the back of the inflation cycle in this configuration would require asset price destruction that the political class has just spent 40 years promising will never happen again. And the response from the people who get paid to manage this is a shrug and a euphemism. The Fed governors say that they're monitoring the situation. That's fucking doublespeak for we don't know what the fuck we're doing. The CPI methodology that everyone uses to measure inflation leaves out things that working families actually pay for. It weights things that benefit asset holders by design. The cable news economic explainer uses transitory and cooling and easing interchangeably until those words have lost their fucking meaning. The administration claims credit for any number that ticks slightly down for a single quarter and ignores any fucking number that ticks up for 2 consecutive quarters. The opposition party does the same thing in the opposite direction. Neither party will say stagflation out loud because saying stagflation out loud would commit either side to a policy response that breaks something that they've been promised not to break, that they've constantly been promising the rich. Vote harder, dummy. They're the same. The donkey and the elephant, it's the same thing. You don't have a choice. Think about what the pattern actually is. The political class refusing to use the word. The methodology disguising the data. The cable news explainer researching for the soft verb, constantly reaching for some other way to say something on any other given Wednesday. You know what we call that pattern when we see it, especially overseas. We would call this propaganda. We would call this disinformation or information warfare being run on the domestic population in real time. That's what we would call this if we saw it done in any other country. The press releases moving the markets. The methodology choices controlling the official inflation rate. Look at it. There are word choices that are controlling what the working class is allowed to call the conditions they're living in. Sounds very commie-like. The information warfare that we've been covering on this channel as you've been tuning in the Iran context is the same information warfare being run on you at the grocery store. Same shit. Just a different theater. What they tell you about Iran, they'll tell you about your grocery prices. Same beneficiary, same class, and you're the same target. It's an op being run on you. So I made that video when I walked around Phoenix and I told you guys, watch the misinformation, the bot accounts, and the engineering of thought explode. They're going to engineer consent for everything. They're going to make it seem like vast majority of people are not opposed to what they're doing. Manufactured consent. That's the age we live in. The math will not hold for another 12 months without something breaking. Real wages are flat against, say, like the cost of living basket, for example. The household debt is at record levels. Credit card delinquencies are at 15-year highs and accelerating. The bottom 40% of households are burning savings every month just to maintain the lifestyle that they had 3 years ago. Look at the auto loans. The delinquencies on those are climbing, and auto loans now are stretching to 7 and 8 years on used vehicles just to keep the monthly payment in range. So the mortgage market, it's frozen because any new home buyer can't qualify today, and the existing owners are locked in low rates that they can't even move out of. So every one of these vectors is a finite resource. The working family doesn't have unlimited credit, unlimited savings to deplete, unlimited overtime hours to work, or unlimited friends and family to borrow from. There's a limit on how long this configuration can run. And we're running into that limit faster than anyone in the institutional class wants to acknowledge. We're quite literally, when they say headed off a fucking cliff, we are. And speed running it. When the math limit hits, by the way, the question becomes, which dam will break first? And listen to me on this part. Okay? The dam break in a specific order, or any dam typically breaks in a specific order, depending on the weakness of the wall, wherever it is, right? Let's say the labor market dam is the one that I would watch the closest. Right now, and I have this opinion because unemployment is being kept artificially low, and there's like 3 things that are doing it. For example, so labor participation is dropping, and we talk about this with men all the time when they're checking out. Gig and contract work counts as employment today, which is fucking ridiculous. That's not a real job. That's a side hustle you do to survive. And underemployment is structurally undercounted. They're cooking the books. We talk about this all the time, meaning that a lot of people that are working below their level or below their hours preference, they don't show up in the headline number. Did you know that? So all 3 of those are real, and they are masking the real picture. So when the AI displacement wave compounds with a cost squeeze, watch what happens. Households can't afford to support the family member who's between jobs anymore. They can't carry the cousin doing gig work either. Participation is cracking already, and it's going to crack in that moment too. Headline unemployment will spike. Suddenly, everyone will be admitting that the labor market is way weaker than they were saying. That's the most likely first crack, in my opinion. And it could happen in months, or it could take another year. We don't know. The data already inside the participation series is like screaming about the institutional class ignoring it. All the data coming out of the labor market and what the Treasury Secretary is saying, that we've had net flat increase in jobs creation. Most of that was coming from the bubble of AI. Most of our economy has grown because of AI. And net jobs are at zero. We haven't created any real jobs. Those are actual data points we have. So I think that's structurally the weakest. Next probably is the asset dam. Okay. If I were to say the asset price dam is the second one to watch, because housing has been propped up for 2 years because the existing owners are locked into low rates, for example, and they can't sell. And the government has also been paying those, what are those? The FHA loans. There's something like 2 million mortgages or something like that that were potentially underwater already that the government's keeping afloat. They haven't kicked people out. Structurally, that looks insane. So that's kept supply artificially tight. Okay. Prices have stayed high regardless. So that dynamic is going to end the moment the forced sales start, which is why they keep paying all these underwater properties, all these mortgages. So forced sales start when, say, the household balance sheet gets squeezed enough that the owners have to liquidate. So equities have been propped up by the AI narrative concentration in the 7 mega cap stocks, plus the passive flow from buying up the 401k auto deposits, right? That dynamic ends, guys, the moment the AI productivity numbers get audited and the disappoint, or the so-called passive flow stops, because retail and pension flows can't keep funding the bid. Both of those endings come from the same root cause: working family balance sheets cracking. The asset class likes to pretend that their portfolio is decoupled from the working class budget. The bid for every asset eventually traces back to a working person's paycheck or pension contribution or 401k auto deposit. So when the source dries up, the bid dries up. And the whole structure has to find a new equilibrium at lower prices. So pay attention, boys. One of these are going to go under soon. And listen, you have the political dam too. I'll call this the third one, whatever. The American electorate has been remarkably patient with the gap between official economic narratives and the household level economic reality. That patience is finite, I hope, for the sake of our country. The 2026 midterms are the testing ground for this. We're going to see what backlash there is. If the working male condition that was assembled around a, say, populist economic message looks at the receipts and then concludes that the message didn't deliver, the political math of the next 2 cycle changes radically. So there's no obvious replacement coalition for either party because both parties have been promising the same impossible thing: low inflation, high asset prices, full employment, open trade, restrictive immigration, cheap energy, military strength, all that bullshit. Cool story, bro. The conditions of 2026 force a choice between those goals that neither party wants to make public, so that the political class instead will have to make the choice quietly in the form of policy decisions that benefit the asset class, and it squeezes the working class, and trust that the population will not be able to connect the dots in time to vote against it. This is the bet. That's the entire bet for them. Ride the silence until the cycle ends, and then rinse and repeat. And then watch this next part. The thing I'm watching for probably the next 6 months or so is the moment that the word stagflation gets spoken out loud by somebody with actual institutional standing, not some YouTubers, not me. A Fed governor in a speech somewhere, a Treasury Secretary in some testimony, right? A Treasury official, excuse me, or a bank CEO on an earnings call, something, a senator from either party in a hearing. Once the word is in public conversation, the framing shifts around the political math. That shifts along with it, right? Until that word is spoken, the system is running on that fucking euphemism. Cooling. That's getting more strained every quarter. Cooling and heating and cooling and heating. You understand? The euphemism is the entire point of the silence. Drop the euphemism and the policy response becomes inevitable. And the policy response is one of two things. Either you accept an asset price reset that wipes out a generation of paper wealth in the upper quintiles, or you accept a wage price reset that further crushes the working quintiles. Neither option is politically survivable in a normal cycle. So the political class plays for time and hopes something external bails them out before the math forces a choice. That's assuming the political class even has the capacity to break a euphemism that's been keeping the asset bubble inflated, which honestly, I'm not sure that they do. Because the system might just keep running on the euphemism until something external forces the issue. And honestly, the timing on any of this, the fog of war, the data itself, all of it is distorted by the methodology that I'm criticizing right here. So, treat the forecast as the direction, not essentially like a calendar date. I'm not going to tell you exactly when this is going to happen. The direction is what I'm confident about. And then Trump himself said he was trying to save the asset class by, hey, we don't want to destroy home prices, but we want to make housing more affordable for young people. But my primary objective is keeping housing inflated so that paper wealth is maintained by the boomer class, by the asset class. Isn't that crazy? So don't get upset hearing all this, by the way. Just let it digest a little bit. I'm not laying it out to crush your hopes and your dreams. I'm just laying it out so you can see the math and you can plan around what's going on, because everybody else is blowing smoke up your ass. Okay? And they're not going to break the silence. The silence is the deal that they're running. Every month that it holds, somebody, somewhere, with perfect timing is making generational wealth off of your shrinking paycheck through these three policy hammers that none of these cunts will fucking say out loud. Refuse the euphemism. Start telling them what we're in. Use the word stagflation. Hey, what are we going to do about stagflation when Marco Rubio is up there speaking? When who else? When Trump is up there speaking? When JD Vance is up there speaking? When AOC is up there speaking? When whoever else from the Democratic side that wants to be president? Slick Rick over there from California. When they want to talk about the country, ask them what they think about inflation, or stagflation. That's what I want to know, because AOC has her sights on the presidency. What do you think about stagflation, and how would you tackle this as a policy? Ask Trump what his administration is doing about stagflation in the working man. Ask Gavin Newsom what he will do should he run for presidency, get elected somehow. What is he going to do about stagflation? I don't know. I wouldn't vote on anybody that can't answer that question seriously. So I pray somebody hears this video, watches this, goes to one of these events, and holds their feet to the fire. Because I want that word out in the open, and I'm curious on what their policy is for stagflation, instead of kicking the can down the road and bread and circusing everybody with culture war bullshit and other distractions. Tell me what you're going to do for my bottom dollar, right? For the bottom line, for my wallet. And then we can go from there. Until then, none of these people are worthy of being leaders. It's just a shame in America you can't do what the Europeans have in their systems, a no confidence vote where you can essentially fire the government and vote in for a new crop if they're not doing their job.
At Maryland Guy Ether donated $4.99. Hey Bo, I hope people don't believe that BS that AI will create abundance for everyone. They want us dead. We will be useless to the elites.
I agree. Thank you, brother, for the donation. It's it depends what camp you're in. There's the maximalist, and then there's the accelerationalist, and then there's the denialist. So if you see AI as a positive framing for humanity, you're an accelerationalist. If you see AI as a slop and a tool of destruction, you're a denialist. You're trying to cope your way out of the reality that's coming. You don't think the technology has any power or use. You have no idea what's being constructed behind the scenes. Your little chat bot is a distillation of the actual product, because the actual product's too expensive to run. So I want you guys to understand, when you talk to your bot and ask it, why are you gay? Your little bot is a distilled fragment of the real model they run behind the scenes. They use to code up stuff, to develop the bug reports, to sell to weapons manufacturers, to implement in all the smart AI targeting, Palantir, all that stuff. Your stupid question of why are you gay would be way too costly for them to run on their data centers. So they give you a dumb version. And you think the dumb version is what they're using, what the Pentagon uses, what the targeting systems use. You have no idea. We're multiple generations behind the real product, and the real product is far more capable. So capable, in fact, that the defense industry, the Department of War, is now fully dependent and will not get off that teat. So if there's anybody that's a signal for how good this tech is, it's the guys in the Defense Department. It's the ones building the bombs and waging the war. If they say they want to use this shit and they punish companies for not allowing them unrestricted use, like they were trying to do with Anthropic, that should be a strong signal for you that this shit is way more capable than you're being told publicly. Again, they're managing expectations. Do you think that if the AI CEOs came out and said, yeah, half of you are pretty much screwed in the next 2 to 3 years, that would be a welcome positive framing of a message? That you would be excited for this new technology that will most likely replace you and your wife at work? No. So they just tell you, it's okay. It's got some problems. We're working on making it better. And on the other end, the fucking United States military is actively dependent on it, using it for targeting information, for all sorts of data analysis. And you, the slop, the goy, is like, this stupid chatbot can't even tell me real information. You're too poor to use the real one. That's the brutal truth. You're broke. The real one costs thousands of dollars per fucking question. You can't afford the compute. You're poor. Okay? We are in a separate binary economy. The rich have access to compute. The poor don't. That'll be the economy of the future. You poors have to use distilled models that are stupid. And then the rich will have access to the full big-brained transformative models that give them an edge in all aspects of society. Economically, politically, doesn't matter. But the poors think that they're using the good shit. Since when have you ever gotten the good stuff? You're willing to accept that the United States military has technology that far surpasses whatever we publicly know about. You don't think the AI companies are doing the same thing? My Lord, how dense can you be? Thanks, brother. Any update collab with Aaron Clary? No. That toad wanted me to fucking push his book. That was his collab, bro. He reached out to me to pay me to fucking sell his book. So stop asking me about Aaron Clary. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, what should we get into next? We have an interesting episode from Mr. Bantu, City Diaries. I saw it literally popped up right before the stream, so we'll cover it. Let me sip and chill. We do have to do content with from Jack. With Jack, we messaged each other. I'm slacking. That's my fault. He said, hit me up whenever after XYZ time. And sorry, brother. I've been busy. Life is getting in the way. Jack from, what's his channel, you guys? RLP? Real Leather or Red Leather Podcast, something like that. I have one of his videos to actually cover, and I should. I need to do that. Where the hell is it? Yeah, I'm slacking big time on contacting him. I should contact him while I'm streaming right now just to get it over with. We have, dude, I've been just banking episodes. Jeez. I don't even know where shit is. Here it is. Jack Morgan, yeah.
Russell Adler donated $5. Bo, I use you as a litmus test for a successful person. I feel like I'll need 10 different lifetimes to remotely come close to what you have achieved so far. Like, for example, I've been playing console while listening to you today.
Look, dude, first off, I'm not some insanely successful person like you're making it out to seem. I'm an ordinary dude just like you who was playing video games just like you, who was working dead-end jobs just like you, struggling to see what the future would look like just like you. Look, we'll get into a little tirade here. I'm not special. You don't need 10 lifetimes. You just need to get up out of bed with a fucking mission, okay? A plan, and institute it every single day. And in time, don't know if it's a year or 10, you will wake up in the dream life you're currently building. First, get off the video games. You're a broke bitch. Why are you fucking gaming? They're trash and they force fucking rainbow bullshit in your face anyways. And the AI is watching you if you curse and then mute your mic. So games suck and women ruin them. Number 2, what the fuck skills do you even have at the moment? If the answer is 0, work your dead-end job. And once you get off your dead-end job, start to train yourself with something. I was self-taught. I taught myself everything off the internet. YouTube University is an amazing product, by the way. And it can help you learn almost everything. There's some guy teaching you how to do something step by step. I'm learning how to do AI coding, vibe coding. I have an app. It's currently running. It's what's running the channel right now. And what you guys are seeing. Let me see if I can put the screen up. So what you see here on the left side, right here, this unified chat function that shows all of you guys speaking, along with my little dashboard right here. I built that. This is an app. It's working for me right now. It's live. This is what I use to monitor the chat. This is what I use to fire off all the, what do you call it? All the super chats, the subs, the donations, the whatever. I made that for myself because it was a problem I solved. Streamlabs, this is a company that offers the same functionality. They charge you $65 a month for this shit. $65, not thousand, a month. Mine is going to be $10 when I'm done. I solved the problem. I'm literally saving $65 a month, and I coded this thing up in like 3 days. The base, the skeleton. I'm now making it good enough to actually deploy live to you guys, and we'll do a video, and I'll do a product launch and a demo, and then maybe people will download it and use it, and it might spread through word of mouth, or it might fucking flop, and it's one of one. I'm the only person who uses this. I don't care. I solved my own problem and I got to learn a ton in the process, and I'm still working through it. I'm now in the process of like doing hardening on my app. I'm running a gauntlet for like security and vulnerabilities and bugs and any way people could use my product and break it and steal any information or take over computers or whatever. So I'm running a whole security gauntlet that's making sure my app is hardened for public launch right now. That's a huge phase I'm in, and it's taking a ton of shit to do. I'm currently running the development build right now on the live stream that's prone, full of bugs, and I've already noticed a ton of problems, and I have to work through that stuff. I didn't know any of this. This is the point. Even 4 weeks prior, I didn't know I could even be capable of doing this. I have developed my own fucking workflow now. I have developed a workflow I've shared on the private community on how you could be zero knowledge on coding and how to split off your AI into a senior engineer and a coder and then bring to reality, to fruition, all your ideas. All you just need is the idea. And I built that workflow for people. You can go in the private community and download that entire folder. It's like 12 files. You just feed it to your AI. It holds your hand through the entire process. And you could start any project you want, and it will be built. They are that capable today. I didn't do this 4 weeks ago. I had no idea. I just knew of people coding shit, but I wasn't a coder. I didn't see myself as a coder. That was my mental limitation. You are in a same mental limitation when you're sitting there playing video games, just listening to me, wishing you needed your 10 fucking lifetimes. You don't need shit. You just need to try, bro. Stop limiting yourself. That's your biggest problem right now is you think you're not the guy. You think you need the 10 lifetimes. You think you're somehow not blessed with the ability to. You are. It's just you're the guy who's fucking off his God-given talent playing video games right now. That's you. That's all. That's it. I'm not special. The guys who made millions, they're not special. I've talked to them. You talk to them, half of them are retarded. And you're surprised how the fuck did the guy make millions of dollars? He had a good idea and he actually walked the walk. That's it. That's what a rich man is. And most of them, there's far few and in between truly gifted, once in a million generational people that are far superior to you in intellect. Everyone else just worked out an idea and it worked. That's really it. This is what I'm trying to impart on everybody here listening. I simply am a person that tries a bunch of things and has failed at a bunch of things all the time. I have a 99.99% failure rate. And then the 0.01 thing that succeeded for me is like a YouTube channel, is starting the business, because I tried to start many businesses. They failed. The day trading, I have blown up dozens of accounts, lost all my money, zeroed out my account, literally, and then put more money in and then kept trying and then got successful. I fail. What I do is I fail. I'm a master at failing. And this is what you need to become, a master at failing. Hey, what are you good at, Bo? Well, if we look at my history, failing at a bunch of shit, I am a failure. That's what I'm good at. And every once in a while, I succeed. And when it hits big. It hits big. So now I get to sit on my ass, do a live stream, and chill out and impart some wisdom on you guys. And the channel can make $20,000+ a month. Just the channel. Just one part of my income. One. And how did it happen? I just started a fucking channel. I recorded videos. Didn't know if they were going to hit or not. Just like my coding, my app. I don't know if it's going to hit or not. This app might make me millions of dollars. It's exciting to think about. It might. Or it can make me zero. I wasted, I don't know how many days, weeks, months probably, a couple months in totality by the time it releases on trying to build this app out for you guys. Cool story. You can have a YouTube channel that makes upwards of 30+ G's a month on a good month, for example, is what this one will pull in. And then you have the private community. And then you have the app you're developing. And then you have the side business. And then the money you manage on the side from your, investments for the last decade. And you always just add on. But you start, brother, somewhere. You have to begin at ground zero, just like I did. I was broke. I was a fucking broke. You had nothing. Zero money. I worked at fucking, what's that shitty job? I was one of the salespeople. Who was it? AutoZone. Your boy was at AutoZone. That was me in the red shirt. What part would you like to buy today? What's the year, make, and model? What year, make, and model? Year, make, and model, bro. Getting my hourly wage cuck pay. Watching my weekly paycheck or my bi-weekly, paycheck's like $400. Fucking broke. I'm a brokey. I'm watching movies of rich people. I'm watching, how do I become a Gordon Gekko? How do I get this lifestyle? Okay, what the fuck is day trading and how do I do it? I went to YouTube University and I started teaching myself. Then I downloaded a fucking Interactive Brokers or Thinkorswim. And then I started trading on the paper account, the fake one, right? And I was like, I think I can do this. And then I put real money in the account. And then I blew all my money. And then I put more. And I tried again and again and again. And then your boy started making money after losing a bunch. And then at one point I was making $1,000 a day trading crypto. During, I think, 2014. I first bought Bitcoin at $950. And Ethereum at that same time was priced at like 34, 3, some shit like that. $30, $40. And I was day trading that in the market while the market was booming, making an extra G on top of the assets rising dramatically. Also, while I was running the construction company. Add layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. Like an octopus, you must have one tentacle and build up to multiple streams of income. That's it. In totality, it might look impressive. In totality, it might look impossible. But if you just start on one thing and add along the way, your life could be completely different. Is it easy? Fuck no, it's not easy. At all, dude. At all. I'm not saying it's easy. It's also not easy to sit on your ass and struggle every fucking day playing video games. And the anxiety is eating at your fucking brain every day. You can't even relax and play video games because you know, like, you have to get and start moving and doing something because I can't take 10 more years of this life. I was that guy in the auto zone, no customers for hours coming to the store, waiting to close with my manager, and he's just flipping his phone, consuming slop on Facebook, and I'm looking at the aisles of car parts, waiting to fucking clock out and go home and just thinking, this can't be my life. And if you don't fucking change, it will. That scared me into action. That made me want to try everything because it was better than not. It's better than being stuck. So I tried everything. I tried to sell knives, Cutco. I tried to fucking do MLM schemes I was recruited into to sell garbage products door to door. I didn't even fucking know what I was doing. It just, they promised me I was going to make a lot of money. So I tried. Shitty fucking companies that prey on people that are like me, young and hungry. And worked at Lowe's, Home Depot, worked at fucking auto parts stores. I worked at so many restaurants. I even worked at Red Lobster. Your boy was fucking slanging those biscuits. Slanging. I did anything and everything. Then eventually bartending, all that shit. I tried everything, bro. And I failed at a lot of it. And a lot of it were dead ends. But somewhere along the way, it didn't fail. It just took me this long to finally get to this place. Anybody that's promising you a success, rainbow vacuums. Anybody, I remember the vacuum dude. I didn't do the vacuum stuff, but I was a good bartender. It was great. It was easy, quick money. The people loved me. I loved just making drinks. It was tight. I got good at that. That's why I talk so much. I was a hermit. I was a video game nerd. I didn't like going out, didn't like people. They intimidated me. And then, you know, through exposure, basically, I somehow ended up being a bartender. And then, holy fuck, now I could speak. And then my bartending skills translated into, like, I have a YouTube channel now. I can talk all day. And I don't mind. And it's easy. And I'm relaxed. And I'm not freaking out doing this shit. And I don't care what people think. And that was all through exposure therapy. I did free pour. You couldn't be a fucking bartender and measure your shot like a fucking homo, dude. Come on. Just pour that shit. And you're done. What age was the bartending job? Oh, man. 20... I don't even remember. 24? 3? 23, 24? Something like that. Anyways. Hey, thanks, brother, for the gift. All to say, guys, you are actually capable of quite a lot more than you think. It just, the timeline may be longer than you're comfortable. Everybody wants a quick hit, a quick win, a quick achievement, but that's just not how any of this shit works. Believe me, if I could go back in time and just talk to myself when I was sitting there selling garbage ass car parts and fucking putting up heavy ass lead batteries and shit, And just saying, hey, bro, just chill. You're good. In the future, you're going to be this, that, and the other. You're going to experience this, that, and the other. You're going to have this much money and you're going to travel the world and you're going to find this woman and this. I wouldn't have even believed you, dude. I was dooming out on myself. I said, fuck, man, why couldn't I be born to a rich family? Why couldn't I have these connections? Why am I stuck on this side of town? Why? This is my life, dude. I hate that this is my life. The only cool thing I have to look forward to is like, maybe a good session on my Call of Duty or whatever fuck video game I was playing. Like, let me get a perfect score, and that makes me feel something because I feel nothing because my life is numbing. Because this shit sucks. Because no one calls. My phone is dead. My only alerts are Amazon packages when I can afford to buy something because I'm so broke. No one cares I even exist. You think I don't know this shit? That was me. Why do you think I talk about that shit? Why do you think I say what I say? And I may be against certain things or outspoken on others. I was you. So I know there's a way out. Okay. Let's start with some easy. I mean, it seems like a serious topic, but no, I wasn't playing Overwatch. I was playing, I don't know what the fuck I was even playing, man. Garbage. I don't know. To be honest, I don't even remember. Someone wants some dating videos. I don't even know if okay, let's just talk about some shit. Let's see. We have something. Oh, my screen's messed up. One sec. There we go. Onk status. I look like a Call of Duty guy. I definitely played Modern Warfare 2. I liked it. Yeah, Halo has a special place in my heart. Halo 2 specifically, Halo 3 was pretty good too, but Halo 2 specifically and Unreal Tournament. Oh man. Hey, thanks, brother, donating. I don't know what that currency is. Appreciate you. Do I feed your workflow to Claude, chat, or code? Chat. Chat will guide you through the workflow in the private community. Just start reading document 1, and then it leads you to document 2. And then if you're already in a project and you're coding something, it will start putting together 2,000 wangs. It'll start putting together the workflow for you where you are in your project. So, super cool.
A damned 911
Hey,
donated
come on, brother.
$5 to continue your thought. Well, I'm a dumb guy that started a junk removal company. You
There you
don't
go.
need to change the world or create something new.
Exactly. Everybody thinks the aesthetic of success is you in like the corner office at a multinational corporation. Relax. You can have a successful one-man business where you just make $100,000 a year. That's good, dude. That's incredible. And that's achievable. We're not all going to be some insane, like we got 10,000 people working under us. You're a big dick CEO of some corporation. Everybody wants to know you. You got a hot calm down, bro. Just there's guys making 6 figs cutting grass in their community and doing landscaping. It's fine. I might imagine this. Imagine this. I'm building this fucking app and then I don't get thousands of subs. I just get a couple, but they make $5,000 a month for me. Let's just have $5,000 in monthly recurring revenue from my streaming app because it's much cheaper than the competitors. Dude, $5,000 a month is incredible. That shit's great. You don't have to be big swinging dick and it's like all or nothing. It just got to swing a little. Let it swing, Jesus. Just a little bit. Bless me. And we're good. And then you just keep on going. That's the game. All right, we'll start here in a sec.
A damned 911 donated $5. I did 270K last year between the 3 businesses.
There you go. You see? Junk removal man, 270K. Isn't that a sweet life, dude? Look at that. Yeah, just went for time with my drywall repair business that's been building up on the side. First week, you made 4 G's, all ran by yourself. There you go. You see? This is how this shit works, man. Let me try to find some dating. There's one chick that was like crying. I want to get into that. That's a funny way to get into. I have to open up literally all of these. Is this the chick? Yes. We haven't watched this yet, right? Yeah, it's just 3 minutes, 4 minutes of goodness. Stupendous. Light way to start. Grab some merch, boys. I have to push it. I forgot. If you haven't already, check it out. Just vote harder. The shirts have been fire. Let me go big screen for you guys. Here you go. The merch has been hitting recently. There you go. And if you haven't, get your hats too. Just vote harder hats right here. Come on. Come on, camera. Oh. Okay. We'll just keep it like this. Just vote harder. There you go. Fire. So thank you to everybody that's been getting merch. Shout outs to everybody donating, man. Thank you guys. I've been wearing my hat everywhere, actually. If you see me in Phoenix, say hello. Don't be scared. You might recognize me just from the hat alone. And yeah, just want to thank you guys again for tuning in. Merch is at, what's the website? legionofmen-shop.fourthwall.com. It's a mouthful, but it's posted on every single video. It's linked on the channel directly and including in the chat here. So get yours if you haven't. Very fresh looking. Anyways, we'll continue with silliness. Modern woman attempts to do a casual hookup situation. Surprising. And gets her heart absolutely shattered. Women think they can have meaningless, emotional sex like men, only to get their heart broken. Then they have a pessimistic mindset when it comes to dating for the rest of their lives. The dire consequences of being a hoe.
Basically, all I've learned from this entire fucking experience is that casual is not for me. I just got done seeing my man who's not my man, but like he's literally not my fucking man. And I basically told him that like I don't want to be in contact.
Oh, not on screen. Oh, we have to restart that. Thank you for catching it. Boomer moment.
Basically, all I've learned from this entire fucking experience is that casual is not for me. I just got done seeing my man who's not my man, but like he's literally not my fucking man. And I basically told him that like I don't want to be in contact anymore. And yeah, like I mean I told him that like I wanted to be with him, that I wanted more for the two of us, and he told me that he's already told me that we don't align on wanting to have kids. And so that just told me, okay, great, then I have no reason to continue being in contact with you because we don't align on the same things for what we want with each other.
Wow.
And it fucking sucks so much.
Aww.
It sucks so much because I feel like the whole time he knew that like I wanted more with him.
No shit, Sherlock. Do you see what happens when you just, the devil D, just guts getting rearranged? Chad up in the cheeks, smashing with zero repercussions for her mental health. Zero care in the world. Got multiple hoes. Guts rearranged. She's got absolutely no standard set on why he gets to smash. No, got to put a ring on it. No, zero, bro. Zero. Cheeks were spread open, guts rearranged, had no asks of him, no requirements whatsoever. Her bunker got busted. And she didn't ask him for a goddamn thing. Meanwhile, the average dude, the non-Chad, well, the hoops, they must be ringed, right? How many you jump in today? Good little sheep, good little wallet with legs. But for the Chad, I cry in the car and make videos. Isn't that funny? Yeah, the simps are fighting for breadcrumbs. You fight for her attention. You send her money just to go on a date with you. You send her money so she can see your message in the DMs. Meanwhile, Chad gets to drop loads. Loads in your queen. Loads are being dropped. And he can't even remember her name. And when she asks for more, he goes, I already told you. I ain't trying to have your kids. You're a genetic dead end. You are genetically not good enough for my future children, the world conquerors I'm looking for. Do you see what he told her without really telling her? You're not up to snuff genetically to bear my children. Ouch. Ouch.
Bruh.
And I don't know. Guys. This is really fucking difficult. This shit sucks. Like, I'm never doing this to myself again. Like, yeah, so never gonna see him again. Makes me want to throw up and fucking die, actually.
Bruh. Those cheeks were getting dug out. The lonely night will come. She's going to go to the club. This is what happens. She's going to go to the club. There's going to be nothing but non-Chads there. She's so sick. Every man will be compared to this guy. She's turned into the, the alpha widow, that shit. And she's going to go back to him. Listen, fine. Okay, I don't want anything either. I enjoyed the sex. So whatever. You're going to come see me now. And that's all it is. Dude, that's all it is. That's what this shit is. It's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, like, he's never gonna text.
Believe me, it's happened. So many men will tell you that have been the ones doing the quote alpha widowing will tell you that exact shit. They always come back. They push and they see they can't break through and the boundaries don't move and the line can't get crossed and they go, fine. Maybe if I stick around long enough, he'll change his mind. You know how a nice guy thinks he'll stick around long enough and that she'll see the value in him? Women do the same shit with these guys. His number is saved. She will text him later. It might be a week from now. It just depends how down bad she is. It could be a year from now. She will message him. I've had chicks message me after years of not seeing them. Years peeping up on my fucking timeline and shit. Years later, hey, seen you on your YouTube channel. Hey, shut up, stupid. I know what you want. Stop playing. Yeah. The little catch-up text. That's how that shit works.
Me, and like...
And then the guts get rearranged. Oh, glorious. Oh, zero resistance. Oh, tricks, all sorts of tricks are being done. And then it's over. The leverage she thought she had, now she knows it's over, and then will be okay being the side piece, the fun girl, the whatever, forever. You could get a whole wife, and these hoes will still be knocking, talking about, fine, whatever. I don't even care, as long as I get to see you. It's brutal.
I have to accept that and accept that me and him are over, and
when she says me and him are over, she's not talking sexually, okay? She's talking the Disney happily ever after she had in her head. The having his babies and being married and being his, owned by him, being his property kind of deal. That's what they're talking about. She's lit. Look at the simp. She's kind of cute, though. All right, dude. Enjoy getting down on one knee while loads drip out of her asking for her hand in marriage. You go do that. So she is just only sad at the part that she doesn't get to keep him for herself. That's it. That's all it is. What she is sad about is that she will come back. Sexually being pleased is something completely different. That's a whole nother need separate from the box of I couldn't tame the stallion. She still wants to ride. That's very different.
At Camp Stairmail donated $9.99. Free agent for life. My ex hit me last month and called the police. Now I have 2 homes and custody of the children. Keep those Ring cameras active. Police took her away. Now life is good.
Damn. Okay. Shout outs to a big player over here. He got the kids and the homes and everything. Rare W for men. Good job, brother. Living life peacefully. Shit.
Really, really fucking hate it. But like, I'm gonna be okay, you know? Like, I'm gonna be okay. But this fucking sucks. So much.
What you guys wanted. Girl power.
And I don't regret like ever meeting him. I don't regret any of the
You see, that's her way of psychologically patting herself on the shoulder and saying, it's okay, sis, dick is fine. Look, he's not for relationships, but dick, it's okay. There you go. Did you see how they give themselves the out? I don't regret it still. I don't regret the D. I will go back, fine, but I'll just be talking to other people. You can't make this shit up, bro. I like speak womanese. It's I'm so fluent in it.
things that like we did together, like. But what the fuck? Like, why did I just have to be given somebody who, like, actually is a normal fucking person and, like, a good guy? Like, why could that have been given to me, like, for a long-term purpose and not just a temporary thing?
Oh.
So, yeah, life keeps going on. I graduate soon. I have great things ahead of me.
Coping?
And,
Except for the one thing she
this is
wants.
just a little bump in the road, but, like, I'm gonna be okay. It just really fucking sucks. So, yeah, I just, thought I would let you guys know that me and him we're done, and, I have no, like, anger towards him or resentment at all. So,
I'm very much in love with him, and I hope that maybe he can change his mind. I don't hate him at all. No resentment. Do you see? Alpha widowed. It's game over. The next guy. This is the nightmare. This is the nightmare. The next guy is fucked. Mr. Cuck in our chat right now. She's kind of cute though. He thinks he's gonna measure up to that long dick Chad that was rearranging guts day in after day out, every single night. He's gonna be like, oh, she's cute though. I can save her. I'll treat her better. I can treat her better than he did. And the more you do for her, the more shit you buy her, the more you hold her hand, the more you jump through hoops. All in her mind is the long dick McJohnson. I wish he would take me. I wish he could be mine. And you're giving your all, bro. Holy fuck.
Bruh.
You guys are not going to learn, are you? It's like men don't learn. A pretty face and then your dick just takes over. That's the problem we have with men today. Every single guy, the guys watching this in the comment section when I chop this up later, same shit, the simps, before I get to this part in the video. The first thing, she's kind of fucking pretty though. Wow, she's attractive. Where's my Asian queen waifu? Shut up. Shut the fuck up, idiot. It's millions like you that make the game harder for every one of us. This is why we have a problem. You think with your dick. Your problem is that you actively institute your downfall. You author your own destruction in life by fucking with girls like this, by giving them everything and demanding nothing. It's the simps. You are the problem. You. Man, we're going to have a discussion about this shit. Like this is only tolerated because men allow it. The biggest red pill is that it's men's fault because men pay for this shit. That's it. That's it. Without us, without our money, this shit disappears. You think OnlyFans and shit like that, the degeneracy can exist if men didn't consume it? You think the dating market would be what it is if men didn't demand virgin? You think so? Like if all men just said, you got to be X, Y, and Z, or you're thrown to the wayside and you get no attention, no men, no simping, no fucking money, nothing. These hoes would act right immediately. We have no standards for ourselves. We're men. Zero. We'll fuck some passed out chick in a fucking alley. That's the problem. That's the problem. We don't demand more of our brothers. We allow them to be smashing gargoyles, cave trolls, fatties. We allow our brothers to simp. And you can't even call it out because that's my boy. Whatever. He'll do what he wants to do. He's simping himself to death, turning into a husk of a man. You can't even tell your own boy his wife is no good for him. His woman's no good for him. The girl he's seeing's no good for him. You can't even talk to your boy. You can't even be honest with your mans. You can't. And you're wondering how the fuck we got here. Society doesn't talk about it. You're not allowed to talk about it. It is what it is. It is what it is, dude. Once you realize this, that's maybe what you could call the black pill, I guess. The black pill is knowing despite everything you're going to do, the clam still holds a supernatural spell on men. And most of them can't be saved. They will actively stab you in the back for a clam. Most men will stab you in the back for clam. I'm going to say this again. Most men will stab you in the back for some clam. And this is why society is the way it is. That's the fucking black pill.
This makes things very difficult when it comes to moving on because I don't know how to. Because I've always, like, whenever breakups happened, like, I was done.
Uh-oh.
And
this one's stuck, though.
I
Stuck or good?
don't feel that here, but I do feel...
Feelings.
I feel it to an extent where it's just like, okay, like, we just don't align on how we feel about each other emotionally. And yeah.
Who could have seen that coming?
And it's because I don't want to have kids. So,
she doesn't want to have kids, of course. Modern woman problems. So she's like, I'm going to maybe have to change on having kids now. Because the extent of his pipe is going to make me rethink everything.
Super fucking awesome. This fucking sucks ass.
Great. Modern woman things. All right, what next, boys? Okay, we'll get into this in the Africa episode then. So, white liberal women, or I think this one just says white liberals, have no survival instincts, especially white liberal women, though. The idea of white man bad is mainstream and socially acceptable. Considering that white men built the free world as a global minority, I don't see how this ends well for anyone. Let's see.
And white Americans will soon be a minority, and that's great.
You know, whites will not be the majority. I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution and, progress of our country.
We are going to be a white minority very, very soon. I'm okay with that.
If things are so bad, as you say, with the white working class, don't you want to get new Americans in?
America is going to look very different in 100 years. You're not going to be able to tell you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're Puerto Rican, whatever. It's going to be very complex, and I think ultimately that's going to be good.
White Americans feel that it's they're losing their country. They're losing ownership of the country. And they're right. In the end, they are not the future.
For the first time in American history, the number of white people went down.
White population is declining for the first time in history in America.
White people will not be the majority in the country anymore.
This will be the first generation ever in American history in which whites will be a minority.
Treason to whiteness is loyalty to humanity.
To abolish whiteness is to abolish white people.
White people are committed to being villains in the aggregate, right? We got to take these motherfuckers out.
Was it or was it not the duty of every good
Man, isn't that crazy, huh?
revolutionary to kill all newborn white babies?
We have to kill white people.
When do we start killing white people?
I don't want to say we need to go start killing all white folks, but it's like, maybe.
When we say we want to kill whitey, we don't really mean we want to kill whitey, we do.
We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem.
Fuck white people!
An unrelenting stream of immigration. Non-stop. Non-stop. Folks like me who are Caucasian of European descent will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
That's the source of our strength. Yeah. Okay. It's like white liberals have zero survival instincts. It's one of the most fascinating things I have ever seen. And this is...
It's because it's Jewish ideology that's being pushed on them.
A mainstream idea now. Hating white people is socially acceptable. That's terrifying, especially considering white people built the free world. All the freedoms that we enjoy in the Western world given to you by white men.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. And then that goes into, look, there's a funny video of this guy talking about this. Because, look, that starts off very racial. But look, listen to this. I think it's this one right here. Where was it? Okay. So it's this video. This is a good way to jump into a multitude. It has like 3 or 4 of these. Watch this.
So Piers Morgan and Tucker Carlson were having a conversation about how basically the white population is going extinct in England, right? And Piers Morgan was basically sitting there and being like, you know what? I don't really got a real big deal with that. You know, I like my Indian restaurants and shit, my tikka masala, you know, I'm fucking with that. And in fact, I would replace a lot of white people with a lot of foreigners coming in. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, see, this is what Piers Morgan and a lot of niggas don't really understand. Whiteness and the West go hand in hand. Whiteness and exploration go hand in hand. Whiteness and philosophy goes hand in hand. Whiteness and democracy goes fucking hand in hand. What does this mean? If white people are gone, the West is gone. All the things that has made the West great has come from white people. That's just the fucking truth. So if all these niggas are gone and you have the entire third world, Mohammed, Omar, all these niggas coming to your country and all the white people are now fucking gone, the third world just becomes the third world again. These niggas are coming to the West because the West is great. The West was created by white people. If the white people are fucking gone, then the West is not going to be great anymore. This is where you're just going to get the constant authoritarianism, the tyranny, and all the bullshit that you were trying to escape from because the white people are fucking gone. That's why we actually need the Wiggers. If the Wiggers are gone, the elections are fucking gone. I'm going to be sitting here with all you dumb niggas because y'all aren't thinking about space. You guys aren't thinking about inventing anything or having democracy or any of these high levels of fucking thought. I'm going to be like, hey, y'all, we need a fucking election. Y'all going to be like, nah, fuck that. War. Let's just kill niggas because that's what it's like. So white people getting replaced is actually a horrible thing for the West completely.
Okay. But we'll keep it going. Hold on because I got bored.
Why are all all the fucking brown racists mad that white people are the best nation builders when white people choose to see the absolute best in everybody else? Are white people mad that black people are elite athletes or the best entertainers? Fuck no. You know how many white guys have grown up with a poster of Michael Jordan in their room or they would literally die to see Michael Jackson hit a moonwalk on stage live again? You know how many white people love Mexican style food, eat Chipotle every day? You know how many white dudes have cheated on their physics tests with their Chinese friend? So white people have no problem seeing the best in everybody else, and instead they actually uplift the shit. But all of a sudden, when it comes to white people, when we look at Great Britain, when we look at the power that America has been able to generate throughout the 250 years of its existence, you see how good white people are governing. Nope, everybody's fucking mad. Fuck white people. White people deserve to go extinct. White people have no fucking culture. But what about what happened with colonization? What the fuck happened with colonization? Nigga, you still don't want to live in shit city India. You still don't want to live among the AIDS in Africa. You're trying to hop the border in Mexico like in Super Mario still. So clearly the shit wasn't that bad because you still want to be influenced by white people. You're over here, you're a firstborn generation immigrant here. And your parents literally decided to escape their fucking country to come here, and you're more loyal to the shithole country that they tried to escape from. Clearly, white people know what they're doing when it comes to governance, when it comes to nation building, and that's fucking okay. But this is why white people shouldn't give a fuck anymore, because they sit here and they see the best in everybody else. They're willing to kill people of their own race, to free the race of other people, like as we saw with black people during the Civil War. They're willing to see the best in everybody while everybody fucking sees the worst in them. So there's no fucking reason to be entitled to helping these ungrateful idiots anymore. Why are all the...
There you go. And then they're going to call him all sorts of names, that he's the traitor and all this shit. And I've already seen comments like that. But it keeps going. Because the conversation when we cover videos like this, and we're not even going to watch this, like people getting beat and stuff and all the stuff that's happening. And the conversation is always, well, you're racist. I just read a comment like that too, where somebody was talking about the plight of the black community and calling it out made them, it's a racist thing. Some kid, actually, we have a community post. There's a kid that went viral for showing a video of him asking his classmates to read basic sentences they couldn't read. The school is in Philadelphia with probably a black principal and majority black run everything in Philly. And the school is threatening the kid and not going to allow him to walk across the podium to collect his diploma if he doesn't take the video down. That's wild. The kid is black and he's showing his black classmates they can't read. And that video went viral and the school's trying to punish the kid who exposed the fact that the school is just passing people without teaching them anything. That's crazy. The community is trying to punish the child who's exposing the corruption. Fuck. Okay. And then this guy makes the same delineation between the hood boogers and the normal black people that are trying to actually make it.
Nobody wants to live around niggas. Black people don't want to live around niggas. White people don't want to live around niggas. Hispanics don't want to live around niggas. Asians don't want to live around niggas. No one wants to live around niggas. Niggas carry themselves with a complete lack of empathy for anybody else. They don't care about anybody else's time. They don't respect other people's businesses. They look at the world and they just laugh at everything. They think shit is funny. They grew up without a positive male role model in their life. And they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about the black community. That's the last thing they give a fuck about. Because I'll tell you what, you line up a black person in front of a nigga and a white person, they're not going to want to do that time for killing that white person. They're much more likely to kill that black person. And it's interesting because a white person is much more likely to be killed by a nigga than a nigga is to be killed by a white person. And niggas, they overrepresent black people quite often because if you look at the stats with the 13% of the population, half the crime, is it that full 13%? Obviously not. So they say 13%, and it's because of niggas, bro. It's because niggas have done so much harm on such a big, wildly disproportionate level that it's like hard to even tell anymore because we have so many niggas running around and nobody wants to live around niggas, bro.
That's the biggest problem that we were trying to say earlier. And people, some of the black people that watch this channel, that part irks them the most. Because we lost our
nobody
point
wants to. Nobody wants to live around niggas. Black people.
Damn, you can't even fucking scroll through this. X. Oh my God. Elon fixed this shit. Anyways, that's all we have to see. But his main point there is, I can't believe we had to watch that full thing. His point there is when certain people in our community, namely black, watch this, they're struggling with the fact that I am going to be painted as one of these people, the ignorants that are committing the disproportionate amount of crime and all that shit. And I didn't even do anything wrong. And that's true. Everybody on the outside is going to look at any black man as potentially one of those first. First, why? Because it's so disproportionate. Because the community literally upholds that behavior. The community pushes that in the culture. The community, look at the music videos, look at the rap videos, look at everything going on in the hood itself. That stuff is being upheld in the community. So when you're just a normal dude trying to make it in society, you're already painted with the brush of being the hoodlum that's wearing the fucking red or blue bandana off the side of his pants. By default, you have to do extra. You have to do extra to show people you're not one of them. You have to dress nice. You have to carry yourself different. You have to speak differently to these people with actual talking white is what they call it. You actually have to speak proper. Because anytime you move even slightly off and you resemble one of the hood boogers, it's over for you. You're just labeled one of those. And it sucks that you have to live that way. But this is the trap of your community. And when we're trying to say this is what we need to do to fix the community, you need to have people having conversations out in the open. Black conservatives that I told you are exploding. And it makes perfect sense to be a black conservative today, making the channels and content like that, holding people accountable, is because getting this out open into the masses is how you make the change happen. If people are aware, and I've started seeing, it's a small minority, but there is a conversation happening in the black community of like, you know, rap music is CIA slop. Drug dealing is CIA slop. You know, shit like that. It's all slop to destroy the black community. That's an awakening. That is the community waking up. But there are so many hood boogers, it mostly doesn't land. You are essentially outnumbered by bad actors, and it's unfortunate. And that's what he's talking about. I wish I could skip to the end of that, where he continues the rest of his point. It's a good point, but you could see it here in this chick. Look, what does she say?
Well, I used to believe I was owed reparations due to slavery. I believe that I couldn't be racist towards white people because I didn't have systemic.
Let me see if I minimize this. No, you can't. There's no way. All right.
Power. I believed in Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, all that stuff. I believed in transgenderism, feminism, pretty much everything that was backwards. And now,
did you say blackwards?
Yeah, that was actually a Freudian slip, but yeah, backwards. Okay. And now I'm pretty much the opposite of everything. I'm not for the feminism. I'm not for the stuff. I'm not for Black Lives Matter or reparations.
What happened?
Well, I had a situation back in Chicago where I moved in an apartment, and they originally told me I'd be assigned a roommate of the same gender to share a bathroom. They actually ended up assigning me a transgender as a roommate, and I only found out it was a transgender because the toilet seat was being left up consistently. And when I reached out to my black housing manager, she told me they weren't allowed to discriminate and I could move down the hallway to another room if I had a problem. And when she used the word discriminate, it made me think about politics. So I started looking up just what in politics made it legal for a man to be in a woman's space. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing all the evil, racist, Republican white people are the ones with common sense who don't want this weirdness going on. So I found myself voting for Trump.
And you became a wife at 23?
I did.
After being a feminist your whole life?
Did.
Okay.
Well, I used to believe.
There you go. More of that. Okay, not her. More of this. Less of the hood boogery. That's all we're saying. That's it. That's simple. Problem is, for the blacks listening, people outside of the black community, non-blacks, can't tell the way you can tell because you're deep in the culture. You can spot these people immediately the way they're walking, by their gait. Like they walk a certain way, they talk a certain way, they look a certain way. You see it up close because it might be in your family. At the very least, it's on your street corner. You know this shit. But a white person that's not been around the culture, doesn't have many black friends, shit like that, random people outside the community, can't tell, they don't know. And so they do what everybody else does. They just apply the default. I just know what I see on the news. I just know what I see from the music videos. How they wear their hats, how they sag their pants, how they're pointing their guns, how they're doing whatever the fuck it is that they're doing. And that's it. And so they apply that with the broad stroke on the entire community, including you. And this is the reality of the situation. You have to understand that this exists and that this is why you get profiled. And it is true. This is why they watch you extra hard as opposed to everybody else. If you're a white man walking in an establishment, no one gives a fuck. If you're a black man walking in an establishment, they're looking at you. They're watching you. Why? Because you know why. You know exactly why. It's not just because you're black. It's because black people commit disproportionate amount of thefts and crime and murder and all that other shit. And the society pushes the degenerate act. That's why. It has nothing to do with it's just skin color. It's just what that skin color is attached to, a behavior. That's the problem. Because this shit kind of goes away when you're rich. That's what's funny. If you've ever been to Dubai, and it's like a multicultural pot there of all sorts of people, a lot of the people in Dubai are wealthy. When you go into the wealthy side of Dubai, doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Asian, Indian, who gives a fuck? Most people there are worth millions. Most people there act completely different. They don't treat you just by the basis of your skin color right away because you're black. They know if you're walking into the Dubai Mall and you're black and you're wearing some African outfit, because I've seen a bunch of them Africans in Dubai with like, you know, they're fucking looking like some African tribal king and with his queen and shit. They're wearing the, you know, tribal clothing and shit, but decked out with nice shit on there. Nobody's looking at them like this motherfucker is going to steal. They know he's worth millions of dollars. He's about to buy some really expensive fucking watch. Most likely it's worth $500,000. The dude's got money to spend. Nobody is looking, checking, doing shit in Dubai for nobody, for their skin color. Do you know why you have to do that in America? Why certain Rite Aids and Walgreens and Walmarts and in certain parts of the country have glass locking away basic products? It's not because you just happen to be black. It's just a bunch of what is stealing. And so they had to lock shit away. Talk to me. We here in our, quote, liberal fucking fantasy that we're living in have to pretend that these realities don't exist. But if I go to a white side of the city, for example, the Walgreens doesn't have half the aisles locked away with shit. But if I go to the black side of town, half the shit is behind glass. I need to call the attendant to unlock the shit. Why is that? And so if the community won't call it out and the other people start calling it out, it's just seen as racist. Because we live in a society where we rather blame everybody else, or we rather say there is no problem and pointing it out as racist. That's it. That's it. I don't want to live in that community. I don't want to live in that society. I don't want to live in a place that has to lie to me so I could feel better about what's really underneath. You know, the underneath part, the nasty shit under the carpet, what the real society looks like. If I have to pretend it's all clean when we're all stepping on shit, I'd rather not live here then. So I'll go ahead and take my lumps and get called racist and say, hey, this community's got a problem. My community's got a problem. That community's got a problem. There's a problem there. I'd rather be that guy calling it all out than walking on this lumpy ass shit-filled carpet. Now you want to pretend everything's okay. That's your problem. But I'm not going to live in the same side of town you are. And I'm sure as fuck not going to act like it's all gravy, because it isn't. So you can dodge shit, and you can dodge getting stabbed and getting shot at and getting robbed and whatever else, because you don't want to call out the bullshit. So anyways, shout outs to the brothers that are struggling to do well. Still getting shit on. I get it. That's life. It's out of your control. But you're trying. Shout outs to all the strong families. Pure black families that are doing work, trying to make it, and get painted with a shitty brush. It sucks. It does. No matter what you do, you're always going to be bunched in with the fucking morons. There's that one. I think I might have that somewhere back here. It perfectly describes the situation. I don't even know. It's from a movie. I don't know if I actually put it up. I don't have it anymore. It's from a movie. I forgot what it was called. I don't have it. It's a scene. It's a dude. It's a bald-headed dude, and he's talking to another black guy that got arrested or whatever, and he tells him why he hates him. He loves black people, but he hates him. Man, I wish I knew what movie that was. It just perfectly describes. A lot of my black friends have that same exact mentality. I just don't remember what the hell that movie was called. Menace to Society, was that what it was? I swear I had it here, though. Hey! Appreciate the gifted sub, man. I'm upset because I swear I had that. Dude, there's so many videos I want to watch about India. We can't watch them here, though. Like, I'm watching Indians drowning and nobody's helping each other, and they're just watching the guy drowning. Dude, it's insane. Is this it? No, this was the Asian guy. We covered him before. We lost it. We don't have it anymore. That was a great little clip. We were talking about it in the private community. It was like trending for a while. Anyways, what the hell is that? Where did that come from? Gold coin. Where is that from? Where did that come from? I don't even know where that came from. I was gifted a shekel. I don't know where the shekel came from. Hey. Thank you, brother. Twitch? That was from Twitch? Okay. Did that even fire off on my app? I don't even think my app fired that off. So, that's something we need to track. Okay, anyways. Listen, can't find that cool video. That's fine. It's from YouTube. Is that YouTube doing the... It's showing that on YouTube? 10 coins? Let me see. What the hell? Where are the coins coming from? I don't even see where that's listed in the chat that it says some dude gave 10 coins. All right. Is that on Twitch? I have to check. I have no idea where that came from. Huh. Coins are a Twitch thing. Yeah, but my Twitch has no history of somebody donating any coins, which is weird. I don't know where that alert fired from. Who knows? Okay, anyways. Continue. Moving on. So, the case against marrying or dating outside your race. Okay, what's interesting about this one? I made this case in the Dating a Nationalist Woman video, not conservative, nationalist woman video. And I got a lot of heat for that shit. So, oh, you sent me the link of that video. Let me see. Let me copy it. Oh, it's TikTok though. Let me see. That'd be a good way to close out that video. I hate it. Here we go.
I hate niggas.
Yeah, it's the video.
I love black people. Honest, hardworking, law-abiding black people. Niggas like you make me sick.
But we can't watch this. I forgot we can't even watch this. Hold on. Sorry, we can't watch this on YouTube because it's a movie clip, right? They have this copyrighted.
For a nigga to get his own people hooked on drugs. Got the young girls on the corner turning $5 tricks. No problem for a nigga to shoot.
Yeah. Can't watch it. Can't watch it for it's YouTube. I forgot we can't do that on YouTube. I forgot. Anyways, this clip is fucking awesome. Look for it if you can find it. It's great. Great messaging in general. Can't do it on the YouTubes. Yeah, they copyright that shit, so very aggressively. But good find. Regardless. Yeah, that'll have to be for something else. Yeah. No, you have to do way more. They're real stricklers on that. I think within like 3 seconds, if they catch you, it's over. So, anyways, the case for not marrying or against marrying or dating outside your race. So, like I was saying, I got a lot of heat for making that nationalist video. A lot of dudes were coping. A lot of dudes in mixed relationships were coping. I didn't say it was impossible or don't do it at all. I just said to have the least friction, the most successful relationship, it's going to take not just finding someone of your own skin color so you don't get fetishized in any way, but to also get someone that's culturally very close to you as well in your beliefs. So that video actually, I think that video pissed off a lot of passport bros because obviously they're going into countries where they're mostly mixing, especially the white guys. They're going to Southeast Asia and getting their little Asian queens. And then whoever else is going in whatever other places in Latin America, and they're not Hispanic. And that crushed a lot of hearts because the brutal reality is when you go overseas, the whole point is making it easier for yourself to assimilate, making it easier for your relationship, and not putting up more boundaries. And a huge boundary or a huge rub is culture, especially if you're a foreigner. Like if you're a white guy dating an Asian woman or whatever, her parents, there is a massive friction there culturally. And just the difference in how they approach relationships and how important family is to a relationship too. So if you're a white guy, a lot of them get caught off guard because they're not ready for how involved the extended family or the parents are in a relationship as opposed to European culture. And that, from a lot of guys that I've spoken to, is a huge pain point. They don't like that. That's the thing. And so I brought that to the forefront in the conversation. I said, hey, dude, there's actually more to dating and having a woman and like, hey, this is going to be the one that bears my children or I'm married to, then I'm just going to go to Southeast Asia. If you're Asian, Southeast Asia is your best. If you're Hispanic, Latin America is your best. If you're white, Eastern Europe is your best. If you're black, Africa is your best. I said that in the video and they got upset. Why? Because so many dudes are very dependent on dating their, I don't know, whatever, queen from another race. And they try to ignore the culture clash. And they try to ignore that the community doesn't accept them. And they try to ignore that society won't accept them. And they try to ignore that this friction actually affects their relationship and it makes it harder. All I said was, here's the kind of woman you need in order to have a successful relationship. And not just successful, but the most success in terms of percentage. Here's the highest percentage of your success that you could possibly attain. This is the least boundaries, the least hoops you'll have to jump through. And that's it. And because so many viewers are already mixed, it's too late for them. And they already have identity problems. It's already so many dudes watching that have gone overseas are in interracial relationships. So that's a direct attack on them. It feels personal to them because they're affected directly by it. If you're a white guy dating in the Balkans, you didn't give a fuck. You're like, yeah, it makes sense. If you're a black dude in Africa, you're like, yeah, no shit. Black women here works the best for me as a black man. Duh. If you're Hispanic and you went to Latin America and got a woman with your Western style, duh. If you're an Asian dude dating in Southeast Asia, you're crushing it, duh. And then you're accepted by the family. And then you have a great relationship. And so this is interesting because I don't know what he's going to make. He's going to make the case against marrying or dating outside of your race. So I spoken on this and got shit for it. Now let's see what he says.
For not marrying or dating outside your race or culture. Dating and marriage hold different meanings across various cultures. Long before the first European settlers arrived in Africa, African societies had already established their own systems of marriage. This illustrates a fundamental human tendency to form unions between people of different sexes. In my Igbo culture, as I believe is true in most, if not all of African cultures, the definition of marriage excludes homosexual unions. Procreation is a fundamental aspect of marriage in these cultures, and therefore homosexual marriages would not be recognized or accepted. Black people are the outliers in the world. Most other races share similar hair textures and skin colors. For example, Arabs, Chinese, Pakistani, Japanese, and white, as well as the other indigenous people of the Americas, whether from North, Central, or South America, all exhibit comparable characteristics. In contrast, black people are distinctly different. When a Japanese, Korean, or Chinese marries a black person, their children are likely to inherit features that are a mix of both backgrounds, resulting in a darker complexion than that of the East Asian parent. In many East Asian cultures, lighter skin is often associated with beauty, which can lead to these mixed heritage children facing challenges and potential feelings of inferiority compared to their peers. We are all born into cultures and consist of various tribes and ethnicities, which are
That's big. You have to think about your kids. And I thought about this too, because, hey, if you're going to bring kids into this world, you want them to have a strong identity, strong roots. If your kid is mixed, and especially in a society where they're going to be one of the only mixed ones, they're going to be outcast. They're going to have problems with identity. No matter what you do, they're going to be bullied at school. They're going to be excluded from things with other kids. They'll never be seen as one of them. This in my mixed friends has happened even in the United States. A progressive society like this, they felt the same thing. They felt the disconnect where they couldn't really belong to any side, and that has done some psychological damage to most of them. That's affected how they see the world greatly, as opposed to us that were not mixed and had a strong root and identity growing up. We belonged somewhere. You have to think about this. Is it worth your child dealing with all of that? That's a question only you can ask. I want my kid to look like me. I want my kid to inherit me and his mother's strong identities in our culture, and to not ever question or need to feel like, does he or she belong and where they belong? I think that's very important to the development of a child. I don't buy this liberal bullshit of we're all the same and kumbaya, it's all great. It's not, actually. We live in a world that does see skin color, that does see culture, where people naturally gather around their own people. We naturally stay within our own communities without forcing. People naturally gravitate. We have black neighborhoods, white neighborhoods, Asian neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods, and even those neighborhoods down by ethnicity. The Jamaican neighborhood, the Haitian neighborhood, the whatever Italian neighborhood, the Chinese neighborhood, the Japanese neighborhood, right? Even by ethnic lines like that. We simply like being around our own. We are most comfortable around our own. And that is completely natural. It's unnatural to tell people that that is not inherent in them. In-group preferences, it's well known in psychology. We all have them. It's just socially how we're wired. It's that simple. So I would like to raise my kids in a society, in a neighborhood where they can relate to their peers because they're similar or the same. Because I think that forms the strongest, most stable identity for a child. And if you don't agree, you don't agree. You're more of a liberal mindset. And that's fine for you. But this is what I would do for my kids.
Set of the race we belong to. Children of mixed heritage may not fully identify with a single race. We can pretend all we want, but some truths have to be said. In more tolerant cultures such as the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, France, and other Western countries, mixed children with one black parent generally have more opportunities to thrive. However, in many Asian countries, particularly China, Korea, Japan, Taiwan, India, the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Hong Kong, and Indonesia, mixed heritage children often face more challenges than their peers with more homogeneous background. Human beings have a natural inclination for their children to resemble them, which should not be mistaken for racism. Even people from the same race from different cultural backgrounds can struggle to maintain a successful relationships or marriages. And this challenge can be even greater for those from different races. In so many Western countries, children of mixed race, specifically those with one black parent, may face different levels of acceptance. In Nigeria, there are generally fewer relationships and marriages between the Igbo ethnic group and the Fulani or Hausa groups compared to the number of marriages between the Igbo and white people. In my culture, marriage is viewed as a sacred communal union between two families rather than merely a connection between the two individuals. The union is deeply rooted in tradition, ancestral approval, and community validation. Within this framework, the woman is expected to be under the man's authority. She is not meant to speak back or challenge his decisions, as he is regarded as the head of the family. The man is free to cheat, and there is little the woman can do about it. He is also permitted to marry a second wife. This perspective often conflicts with that of white Europeans or North Americans, as well as African American women who may not support such dynamic. The cultural aspect of marriage is crucial in this discussion. The Igbo culture, the marriage process includes several significant events rather than just one. It is formally sealed through the stages such as Ikuaka, meaning knocking at the door when you first come somewhere. Imego, the second stage, which means you pay or you negotiate the bride price. And finally, Ibanku. Ibanku literally means to carry wine, because in Igbo culture, wine was where people celebrate. So the marriage is called Ibanku, to carry wine. This Ibanku is the final ceremony. Marrying someone from a different racial background challenges traditional marriage norms within one's own culture, as the partner from another culture may follow different cultural practices. While the foreign partner may accept these new expectations, it can still lead to tension. Additionally, in the case where one partner is black and the couple have children, that child may look different from others in the community, which can lead to varied perceptions from society. Some cultures are more accepting of mixed race relationships, while others are less tolerant. In Igbo culture,
at Colin Quinn W5H donated $5. Lincoln, Henry Clay, and all our founders wanted to send most of enslaved people to Liberia or Haiti once slavery was halted. They all agreed on that.
Yep. I mean, that's a historical fact, yeah.
And much of Africa, people of mixed race are generally accepted both socially and legally. In Europe and North America, mixed race people are also accepted, but there tends to be a significant reluctance to categorize them as white. Instead, they are often classified as black because they are not white enough. However, in Africa, this distinction is largely absent. Mixed race people are typically regarded as part of the community without hesitation. In South America, the situation is quite different. Similar to Asia, Europe, and North America, people with darker skin are less likely to marry outside their race. We've released a video on this topic, which you can find on our channel. In countries like Brazil and Colombia, which have the highest black populations in South America, interracial marriages are quite common because, like Africa, South America was completely colonized, resulting in a blend of European, African, and native South American cultures. The mixture has in many cases led to the isolation of cultures influenced by Europeans. While interracial marriages in Brazil and Colombia are prevalent, studies indicate that the likelihood of such marriages decreases as the skin tone darkens. Most interracial marriages in Brazil...
Yeah, they have a preference. Lighter is seen as more attractive. Basically, it's a global thing. It's not something white people invented and imparted on the world. And Brazilian society is very distinct. The upper classes are white. The middle classes are a little less white. And then at the bottom of the totem pole is the darker. And that's just how Brazilian society is set up. And that seems to be set up in every kind of mixed Latin American country. The upper class tends to be whiter. The political class tends to be whiter. And then as you go down the totem pole, the darker it gets. Why is that? Well, it's like a whole video to get into that kind of shit. But typically, if you're from an upper class and you're lighter skinned, you're not going to marry somebody from the lower class that's darker skinned. And that's just culturally everywhere. Same in China. The upper class, really light white Chinese don't marry the lower class, darker skinned Chinese people. It's set up that way everywhere. It has nothing to do with Europeans either. In Brazil, you can make that case because colonization, but what do you say about China? What do you say about Thailand? What do you say about you know, Japan? What do you say about Korea? What do you say about all these other places that not colonized, you know, have their own strong identity? China's had its own strong identity, its own culture for 5,000+ years. It's been its own unique identity without influence.
Brazil and Colombia typically occur between people who are brown or lighter skinned, as they are already of mixed race background. The darker your skin, the less likely you're going to get a white partner in these countries. In the United States, approximately 2% of all newlyweds enter into interracial or interethnic marriages, with black and white pairing being the least common.
You see? So only 2% of all marriages in the United States are interracial. And the vast majority of those, over 50%, were white and Hispanic. And then a small percentage of those are, black and white. But all you see on TV is interracial couples. But all you see on advertisements are interracial couples. All you see, it's like, what could you call it? Social engineering? Isn't it funny how the social engineering is completely opposite? All the TV shows and their diverse cast and who's married to who and who's the man always in these scenarios. All of that shit is propaganda. It's not real. In the real world, people have real preferences and they are racial.
In contrast, pairing such as white and Hispanic or white and Asian occur much more frequently. Similarly, in the United Kingdom, black and white marriages rank as the lowest interracial and interethnic unions. Even in South Africa, where whites have lived for centuries, there are far fewer interracial marriages than in Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, or even other European countries. The more culturally inclined the group, the less likely they are to have interracial marriages.
And is that a good or a bad thing? Let's talk about it honestly. Is that a good or a bad thing, by the way? The less culturally, what did he say, inclined?
Black people, whether from Africa or the Western Hemisphere, are the group most likely to date or marry outside their race. White and interracial and in centuries, there are far fewer interracial marriages than in Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, or even other European countries. The more culturally inclined the group...
Yeah, culturally inclined is what he said. Okay. Look up on Google white mother and child. Yes. Yeah, if you... that's a perfect example. We'll just do that. White woman happy relationship. I think that was one of the ones. And then you just Google images. Yeah, look at this. Look at all this shit. Oh, this one, they're doing better. What was it? White woman relationship? White woman married or family or some shit like that. White woman family. Look, black kid. Look at this shit. Black father right here. You see this? Another one. Black father right here. Google's cleaned a lot of this shit up. Another, look, black father again. Look, mixed couple again. Mixed couple again. You see that shit? It used to be nothing but that. I think they've changed it. What was it? What was the search? Do you guys remember? Can't remember what it was. White woman relationship. Look. Look at this shit. Look at the top, the entire 2 rows. Black guy, white woman right here. Black hand, white hand. Asian guy, white woman. Black guy, she looks Hispanic, but okay, we'll say white woman. Black guy, white woman. Another, I don't know, unambiguous with white woman. Black guy, 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 white woman. Again, black guy, white woman. Black guy, white woman. It just goes on. Black guy, white woman. Black guy, white woman. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. How many? Another one. Another one. Another one. Oh my God. Why black men love white women? Another one. Finally, we have a normal relationship. Oh, wait, keeps going. Another one. Another one. Black hand, I think, right here. Another one. Then you got Jewish guy with, I don't know what. The trouble with white. Another one. Hey, dude, 2% of newlyweds are interracial, and of that, half are Hispanic and white. But it seems like another one. Look at this. Another one. Hey, bro, scroll down. Another one. Google, please. Another one. Oh, my God, a drawing. Dating white women when you're black. All we said is white woman relationship. This is the first thing that comes up. Oh, my God. Look at this. Another one. This is all you get. This is fucking social engineering. This is fake. Now, if you put black woman relationship, just try, or Hispanic, let's say Hispanic. I can't spell Hispanic. Wow. Where the brothers at? We got maybe one here. But it's looking like it's staying steady. Let's try Latino woman relationship. Or Latina, excuse me. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Isn't it, though? That's wild. Look, these... Oh, we got one right here. But that's wild because I see Jorge, and he's doing all right. These guys... Oh, another one right here. It says older men succeed. Mixer dates. Interesting. So talk to me, bro. Is this even real? Asian woman relationship. I was going to say, is this PewDiePie? Or we should say Asian family. That's what, sorry, let's say Asian family. Asian woman family. Let's do this test. Asian family. Or Asian woman. We'll put woman in the front just to test this. Asian woman family. Okay. Maybe that's a good test. So we have what looks like various Asians in the family. Let's put black woman family. Let's just see. I'm curious too because I haven't seen these in a minute. We have our black families here. Okay. Oh, what white guy? Hold on. We got one out of a bunch. The rest have been pretty good. Okay. So far, so good. We see strong black family images. What's going on here? They're calling this a mixed black woman adopted. Okay, they just adopted, but okay. Adopted by a white family. But mostly black man and black woman with black kids, right? You see this? Look at this. Perfect examples here. Well, okay. That's what you search when you see black woman family. I'm so curious. Moment of truth. If we just switch this with white, what do we get? Okay, we got one so far. Another one right here. Another one right here. Another one right here. Oh, she's got her mixed baby. Another one. Black family right here. Isn't that fucking weird? Another black family right here. Look at all of this shit. Explain. Look. Some of those. Look at that. That's a white woman family right here. Look at that. Wow. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? What is that? Okay. Look at that. That's a white woman family right there. Is this another one? Yep, mixed. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? What? 2%. Look at this. Talk to me. What is that? White couple explains decision to give birth to black triplets. What the fuck is that? Explain this to me. This is called social engineering. This does not reflect reality. This is the reality they want reflected. That's the difference. This could be considered white replacement propaganda right here. Look at this. Hey, bro, it's kind of wild how it's everywhere. Black man says he's trophy husband to 3 white women. Give me a fucking explanation how this is really only like 0.5% of the marriages. Yet it dominates the front page of Google. Does that make any fucking sense? Okay. Look at that shit.
The less likely they are to have interracial marriages. Of all races, black people, whether from Africa or the Western Hemisphere, are the group most likely to date or marry outside their race. This trend can be attributed to the historical impact of slavery and colonialism, which have distorted the culture, language, identity, and...
Well, hold on. We didn't even do this test. We did what? White woman family? Let's do white man. White man family. We didn't even check that one. I would be surprised they didn't put him in like a 2-men household. You know, it's like a gay couple. All of them are just gay couples. So it's looking decent. Again, why do we have, this is not a white man, but okay. Still makes its way over there. Look, they put him in a mixed relationship right here. Look at that. Okay. Look, mixed relationships again. So they're putting white men with black women. Isn't that fucking weird? Hey, how weird is that? Look, a mixed couple, he's a cuck. White guy with a white woman and they got a mixed kid. What? What, dude? What's happening here? Is this not psyop, slop right here? Is this not social engineering? What the fuck? Hold on. Did you just see what I just saw there at the, look, another one. I don't even know where to click. There's so many of them. Look at this shit. Look at this. White couple with a black kid. What did I just click on at the top? Where was that? Bro, it's everywhere. Look at this. White guy, gay. Gay, whatever he is, can't tell. What the fuck is going on? This is what's pissing people off because we know this is not the reality. This is not what our neighborhoods look like. This is not what the people are actually doing. Why are they pushing this on us through TV, through media, through TV shows, movies, in the cinemas, whatever? This is not reality. And the people in the real world have already chosen when we look at the statistics. Could this be considered a form of genocide? Could this be considered a form of white replacement? What is this then? Just asking questions.
Natural evolution of the black Africans and the descendants of slaves. Consequently, black culture has been significantly influenced by Europeans who ruled over them for centuries. The transfer of mother tongue, culture, identity, ethnicity, or race from mixed race couples to their children can be a confusing experience. Acceptance of this situation varies from country to country. I know Hollywood has proliferated the world with love is love. It's all about the personality. Just follow your heart, girl, and all the other cosmetics. However, these ideals often overlook the fundamental necessities for a lasting relationship or marriage. Marriage requires compatibility, which includes a shared language, culture, worldview, and ambitions.
Yep.
For example, a traditional ambition of an Igbo man often encompasses building a house in his village and another in the city, having between 3 and 6 children, and seeking submissive wife who cooks for him and maintains the household. He is the provider for the family, and his kinship aspires to be a respected leader in his community and often prefers to suffer and die in silence and pride rather than live without respect. In this context, romantic dinners, flowers, and sweet talks may not align with his worldview. These expectations can be at odds with those of an average British, German, French, American, or Canadian. To illustrate the significant role culture plays in relationships, particularly in marriage, take for instance, a Kenyan, Ghanaian, or Zambian may experience cultural clashes with an African American despite all being black. Typically, an African man may prioritize relationships with extended family and envision a humble wife. In contrast, an African American woman might value a romantic dinner at a restaurant with beautiful view and flowers. Moreover, an African American is more likely to find compatibility with a white American or European partner than with a typical African. Additionally,
that's a cultural clash I told you about right there. You see? African customs are so wildly different that an African woman would be more at ease dating a white guy because the American culture. And it's true. You think she's going to be a second wife to some Igbo dude? Nope. Think a black American woman will accept to be the second wife? Yeah, right. That's one of the cultural clashes. Dude, a healthy relationship, yeah, there's so many layers to this shit. You don't understand. It's not as simple as just punching your ticket, your passport stamped up, and then you go to another country and the honeys are all over you, and the dating, sleeping around, that's completely different, you guys. You can get laid anywhere in the rest of the world with your American passport. Super fucking easy. I'm not saying you can't get laid. You can get laid. You go fucking rampage through all the garbage in Eastern Europe, in Scandinavia, in Africa, in Latin America, in Southeast Asia, wherever, on the moon, whoever. Hoes are everywhere. Hoes be hoeing. And you have a passport that's considered incredible. You're going to get laid. Not an issue. No problem. But when we're talking about marriage and family and traditions and customs, it starts to fucking matter where you go. And that's all I was saying in my video. I'm trying to make that distinction so you can understand the difference. If you're just trying to get your beak wet and have fun overseas, oh, dude, the world's your oyster. Go wherever you want. You will have no problem whatsoever. But don't mistake that for having like a quality woman next to you. That's completely different. They may seem like quality too, because you're used to American garbage. But I'm telling you what that culture actually considers a quality woman and what you're pumping and dumping as a passport bro is two completely different things.
Attitude towards pets can differ significantly. An African American may appreciate having a dog. In contrast, someone from Africa might reject the idea, as dogs and pets are generally not considered part of the family in many African cultures. Marriages between people of the same race, such as Chinese, Japanese, and Korean couples, tend to produce children of the same race, which can facilitate cultural assimilation. Similarly, white Europeans, North Americans, and South Americans typically have children of the same race, which may reduce the likelihood of their children facing discrimination. In the Arab world, couples from Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, or Jordan also produce children of the same race, making it easier for their offspring to assimilate and avoid discrimination.
Astounding. I'm not the only one saying this now. Officially, there's two of us. Astounding. Unc is ahead of the game. They don't want to listen.
Likewise, unions among ethnic groups such as the Igbo, Kikuyu, or Zulu result in children of the same race, helping them navigate cultural expectations without experiencing culture shock or discrimination. Therefore, it can be argued that people should marry within their own racial or ethnic groups to ensure their children belong to a distinct racial or ethnic identity. Anyone can love whoever they want. After all, the heart doesn't choose. However, marriages are more complex than simple attraction or infatuation. While anyone can have a fleeting connection with someone else, marriage is a foundation for forming families, and the children from these unions represent the future. It is essential to ensure that they are not brought into a world filled with unnecessary challenges. If you live in the US, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, the UK or Canada, the chances of your skin color affecting your success rate are low. However, if you reside in countries such as China, Korea, Japan, Vietnam, Poland, the GCC countries, India, Pakistan, or Indonesia.
Success and acceptance are two different things, though. You have to delineate them. Your chance of success is equal with everybody else. It's not a problem. There's nothing holding you back for being biracial. But acceptance and forming an identity, which he's getting at here, it doesn't matter where you're born. That's a problem. Yes, in those East Asian countries that are homogenous, it's an even bigger problem. Yes.
You may want to think carefully before entering into an interracial marriage, as it could complicate your children's life. If you think we're wrong.
Yep. I fully agree with what he's saying. Totally. And so that is why I tell the passport bros, careful where you go. When you try to plant your flag, it matters. It's being accepted culturally because of skin tone. It matters. It has a huge, huge effect on your relationship. And you don't want to, you're not going overseas to make shit harder on yourself. Make it easier. So, like I said, if you're passing through, do you. Enjoy. Taste the rainbow. If you're actually looking at something more serious and that's your game plan, and you're not wasting time doing whatever, you need to be thinking long-term about your bloodline, your skin color, your children's identities, the cultural future that they will inherit. All of this stuff matters and will actually tilt your relationship either towards success or failure. This stuff matters as much as they tell you it doesn't. We live in the upside down world, like I said. When they tell you that multiculturalism and interracial relationships are strong points, it's our strength. They're bullshitting because the elites aren't mixing. If you've noticed, the elites' kids look exactly like they look. They put them away, shield them in those academies. They're all hanging around their own. So, just saying. Weird how rich people are super obsessed with bloodlines and shit, and they can trace back exactly who their, great grandfather was. I don't know how many generations going, like 1296, in 1296, weird how they're obsessed with that shit, right? And it really matters to them. But the plebeians shouldn't matter for you. You can't even tell who your great grandfather was. Isn't that funny? Do you know why they erase your identity? Because you're easier to control. If you don't know where you come from, you don't know what your people struggled for, they can take advantage of you over and over again. They can right away all their wrongs. It's only when you remember the blood of your people, their struggles, the land you come from, the stories that were told, how your people came to be, and then you attach yourself strongly to that identity, only then does it become harder to brainwash you. But if you just wipe all your history away, then you're easily manipulated. You are and you will identify as whatever they need you to. So it makes you vulnerable. And that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. Let me check oil prices real quick. I'm actually curious. I haven't kept up with them for a few days. 101. Okay. Interesting. I haven't tracked that poly market yet either. Do I find Albanian people similar to you, Bo? Not at all. Not even close. Brent is at 113. I don't even know what to pick from, dude. How long have we been on right now? 3.5 hours? Do we close it out? We should close it out. I think we've done good. Today was good. I need more time. I can't go on for like 8 hours and shit. I need time to research topics. I want to do... Yeah, we'll shut it down. I'll talk with you guys for a little bit. What I'm trying to do is have a research topic every single start of every stream. And like with the consistent research, well thought out, shutting this shit down. Actually, we'll do this. Switch it up. And because I take my time looking up all that information, and I think those are some of my best episodes, and I like having notes in front of me because I go off on tangents and I get lost sometimes, and so my thoughts get jumbled and I forget what I was talking about. So I make little beat sheets for myself. Basically, just an outline of everything. And yeah, I think you guys appreciate those far more. And then we go off the deep end and just talk about culture commentary, random stuff like that. So it's good. It's all original content in the first, beginning of the stream, and then secondary is just commentary. So it's a good mix of both, and I like it. I think you guys like it too, if I'm not mistaken. Did you guys like the beginning of the stream? Let me know. Because more of that's coming. Thank you. I'm going to start wearing my glasses again because I feel great. We've been streaming for nearly 4 hours. My eyes don't hurt at all. I don't have a headache, nothing. I could do like another 8 hours as long as I'm wearing my glasses. Dude, the lights and the screens aren't bothering me. It's nice. So I'm going to start wearing my shades real often again. I stopped because I lowered all the lights so much, but even the monitor lights still piss me off. So, but I felt like it was good for you guys to see me, see my face. Yeah. But if you don't mind the glasses, I will wear them more. Yeah, I don't feel strained at all despite doing 4 hours. Funny enough. If I don't have my glasses on and we do a 4-hour stream, I'm cooked. My brain is cooked. I don't feel like doing shit afterwards. But now I feel good. I can get off right now, go eat, hit the gym. It's not taxing on my brain. I guess it's the light. The blue light fucks you up somehow. When are you going to go live next? I'm going to try tomorrow. I have a bunch of topics already researched. I just didn't get to them. So I have like a good 4 topics already ready to cover. I have the notes and everything ready to go. Yes, these are blue light blockers as well. So, plus I like them because you can see from the little bit of light, they're the same color. You see? It's the same, it matches. This was an accident, but they match my jacket, so it's nice. Yeah. How's the slow bulk going? Pretty good, man. Diet solid. The clipping video was crazy, massive value. Nice. I'm going to start my own Discord soon and just do the clipping shit there directly. I'm going to start messaging or talking about it on stream if you want to join the Discord and clip. And I'm going to do the same setup they do. I mean, they have all their editors there, but I guess I'll do both. I'll do campaigns homegrown here from guys watching the videos, if you want to get into that shit, and we'll do the same kind of campaign. And then I'll do some over there too with the actual pro Clippers and see how that shit works. Maybe we can flood the zone and bypass all the whatever suppression. We'll see. Do you track calories and protein intake? Yes. Yes and no. In the very beginning, yes, but now I just know kind of what I need by volume. I mean, I cut my steaks pretty much within the same size, and I eat the same packs of chicken, so give or take, I'm where I need to be. Only after you've measured for long enough do you know by eye. So do measure in the very beginning. It's extremely important. What makes the right so good? I don't think we have a real right. I just think we have one establishment. Yeah. When you say the right, I mean, we don't really have a right-wing government in power in the traditional. I want further right. Let's just say that. This right is garbage. This is like center. This is, I mean, 90s Democrats were harder right than this garbage we have today. We can't even do mass deportations. Americans are being screwed. The oil executives are making millions. We're in another war. This is not America first. Can't even pass the fucking Voter ID Act. This is garbage. What is right about this government? I don't see shit. I don't know. Doesn't feel very right-wing to me. It's just like liberal light. That's what this government feels like. This is like liberal with a slight tinge of red thrown in there. That's all it is. Would we be considered accelerationist? I mean, if you're trying to see the downfall of the country and want it to crash so that the change will come, that would make you an acceleration. I don't want to see the downfall. I just want a real right wing, a real conservative government for once that puts its people first. Like the natives above all else would be nice. Just saying. That'd be cool. Yeah, the Republicans are full of gays. It's true. What's that gay app called? Every time there's a Republican convention, that app crashes in that location. What is that app called? I forgot what the name of that app was. Grindr. Yeah. So wherever Republicans go, Grindr just has outages and shit. There's so many of them using that. That's what it is. So there is no such thing as a conservative government. They don't conserve shit. Socially, nothing has been conserved. Dudes are chopping their dicks off, bro. Men are playing in women's sports. It's insane out here. The kids are being put on powerful hormone blockers. Like, what did you conserve? Babies are being aborted by the millions. Conserved what exactly? Okay. And then fiscally, what did you conserve? Record debt every time a quote Republican is in office. Record debt, printing fucking money. They're asking for $1.5 trillion for the defense budget. What? Already spent $50+ billion in Iran to achieve none of our objectives. What? Explain to me how they're fiscally conservative and downsized government. In what way? The Doge cuts failed. They didn't codify them in Congress. Where was our $2 trillion in Doge cuts? They disappeared. All the U.S. aid money that was closed got rerouted to the Pentagon. So they're still doing the U.S. aid bullshit, but under the Pentagon's budget now. So explain to me what is so conservative about this government. Our roads are still shitty. Americans are still getting unemployed and replaced by H-1B workers instead of mass migrants over the border. Your hospitals, the emergency rooms are overrun with migrants. Look at them. But the Dow, right. I mean, this country's falling apart under so-called conservatives. The domestic population is being essentially suppressed and replaced in real time, except legally by Republicans. They'll bring them in here by the millions, which H-1B, and they're replacing your kids in colleges because those kids pay double. They'll bring in 1 million Chinese students that also double as spies, potentially when needed, when called upon their government. Yeah, that's very conservative of you. It's just a label, bro. These are all labels. It's the same. These parties are the same. They're bought by the same people. They're paid for by the same people. The same donors fund both sides. This is an illusion. Democracy, you never had a choice. You're picking from 2 horses the elite already chose to run the race. They win no matter what happens. This is bullshit. This entire system is fake. You live in a society that is dominated by a small class of wealthy elite who tell you who to pick from a population or a popularity contest, which they engineered for you. Because whoever goes on the podium had to be verified, checked, and approved by them first. And once they've been approved, they get to run a bullshit campaign telling you everything you want to hear. And then every single time, the campaign trail versus who they are in office are 2 different people. You get nothing that you voted for, crumbs at best, to keep you placated and not uprising and doing anything to fight for your actual rights and your freedoms. They just passed like the new FISA Act, again, like Patriot Act 2.0, where you can get spied on warrantless because the military needs it, and Trump has approved it. But they can't get voter ID passed? Isn't that weird? They got money for $50 billion to bomb Iran, but they can't solve homelessness here? They can't take care of, I don't know, veterans who have fought in wars? We can't take care of our veterans. They're ending up homeless on the street. Isn't that fucking weird? The VA can't help our veterans. We don't got the money. Strange. MAHA, is that what it's called? Make America Healthy Again? Can't even get rid of glyphosate because it's a critical component in our farming chain. That's crazy. The entire thing was built on making America healthy again. The number one thing making us sick, glyphosate, cannot be removed because it's so tied into the logistics of our crops, of our farming industries, that removing it would cost them, and they say, millions, billions of dollars. Okay, but the autism rate's exploding. Americans being killed by their own food. Great. So leave that in place. We took a few food dyes away. Hey, we gave you guys a couple of peptides that you could already buy from some websites, but we approve them now with the approval of Big Pharma, who will then charge you absorbent amount of money for a peptide, which usually costs you like $50 a bottle. Is now going to cost you $300 unless you get it with insurance. That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? I said if you remove glyphosate from all of your yards, they're going to be covered in weeds. They found the industry shill. Hey, keep dying, but you're like, the weeds. Think about the weeds in your yard. Like, we want perfect grass. As your kid is like full autism and shit. But you have perfect grass, Ted. Ha, yeah, but I'm spending millions on my TISM kid from glyphosate. Isn't that crazy? Stupendous, bro. Oh, all right, boys. We're going to call it. Hope you guys have a good Sunday. Hope you enjoyed the show. Shout outs to everybody that's been getting the hats, the mugs. I forgot the mug. Shout outs. Appreciate everybody donating, subscribing. Everybody in the private community, join us on calls. We host them 3 times a week. Love to have you on. Talk about some interesting things. And we'll see you tomorrow, I guess. If I'm not a lazy fuck. Oh, if you haven't, forgot. Sign up to Kick. It's free. I'll put it up in the chat first before we sign off officially. Those on YouTube, this is going to be our main streaming. If anything were to happen to the channel ever in the future, this is the only place you would ever catch. This is the only place where your alerts actually work. Go ahead and sign up. It's ad free, so there's no ads there. And would appreciate you going over there and watching. And tomorrow we're going to do another show, hopefully. Similar time, I think. We'll see. And we're going to start. I'm testing my app, so that's why. Once my app is done getting tested, and I have all the data needed, we'll be going to Kick exclusively after usually the opening monologue. So, and that should do it for us. Take care, boys. If you're sitting, stand up, stretch a little bit, and go touch some grass. Get that blood flowing. Move your body. You don't need a credit card to join, bro. You just literally sign in with an email. It's free. Yeah. Or you don't even need an email to sign in. You just click the link and watch the video. Yeah. So, all right, fellas. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.